So hey guys, welcome back to my channel. What if Naruto was the lust god in Star Wars and Jaina as slave? Naruto x Harem. Movie. What do you mean we are lost? We made the jump with everyone else R2, a young teen says looking out the cockpit. She's 16 and already made many veteran pilots green with envy. Her brown eyes look over the screen, her droid was telling her what happened. She pushed some of her brown hair out of her face as she turned to look out the viewport. Wait, you mean I was off by one number? Sith spit. R2, do you know where we are? The teen asks as she looks around the small cockpit for something to eat. Man, was she hungry. Finding a small energy bar, she grins grabbing it. Who on? Comes from the R2 telling her not a clue. Please tell me there is a planet closest by until Uncle Luke and Dad come looking for us, the teen asks as she bites into the bar. She smiles when she finds out it's not one of the ones that taste like someone trying to make it taste sweet. In fact, it tastes like a deb. R2 start to whistle and beep like mad, saying he had found a planet close by. Alright, let go R2, the teen shouts as she throws his ship into a diving spin as she flies to the planet. She skins over the upper atmosphere as her droid scans the planet. So it's just like Thule, well more like Dantooine, but still with some desert and Arctic area, the teen says as she takes another bite out of her energy bar. Weird, someone here can use the force. Okay R2, let's go meet him or her. An explosion could be seen coming from the valley as two superpowers fought it out. Soon another explosion is seen sending a figure flying into a clearing that the female teen just landed. She had just stepped onto the ground when the figure hit the ground, making a good size crater. The teen eyes get big when she sees the figure just stand up shaking his head. Damn, that one hurt. Now then, let's party, he yells as he vanishes only to reappear lock in combat with another person just 5 feet away from the teen. Both break away with the first figure landing next to the teen. Damn team, if I did not know better, you are getting slower. I thought you were going to kill me, the first one says grinning like a fox. Team just growls before sending a large fireball at him, not caring about anything else. The teen sees this. Using the force, she stops the raging ball of fire before it even close to her. What the hell did you do, dope? Team yells, not knowing the teen did. The teen herself figures she better get out of the area and fast. R2, get the ship out of here, she yells before running away. R2 take off flying back into space to wait. The dope turns to see the teen run into the woods. Turning back, both of them vanish. Once again, they appear in the valley fighting it out. Soon the energy output grows to the point the teen, now 10 miles away, can feel it like if it was right next to her. Short time later, a large energy waves knocks her off her feet. The last thing she ever sees is a pair of feet with sandals on them. Sometime later, the teen opens her eyes to see a piece of wood right in front of her. Finally, you're awake. You know how boring it gets when you got no one to talk to, Naruto says as the teen sits up. The teen looks at Naruto before send the piece right back at him, only for it to stop midway between them. You know you got to be will and tone with force to be able to do that without any hands. I can only stop small objects like the queen there. The teen just looks at him before slamming the piece to the ground and lay back down. Turning onto her side so her back was to him. Naruto groans out loud. Naruto gets out off his bed and walks over to the piece, picking up the piece. He winces from the pain. Walking back over, Naruto climbs back into his hospitable bed. Placing the queen onto the board, Naruto starts moving the pieces around until all was left was his high-ranking pieces and the enemy pawns. Itachi, Kisame, Zetsu, Haiden, and now Sasori. Only 5 out of the 12 needed, Naruto says mumbling aloud. The teen turns her head to look at him, not sure what he was talking about. Gah, stupid dreams, why can they just show me everything? You know nothing about the force then, the teen says. What part of the force, the combat or the mental part, because those stupid holocron only give me small parts, telling me to work them out on my own, not very helpful. Stupid Revan, stupid Xana, and her stupid love life, Naruto says, starts going off on a rant. The teen using the force takes her pillow and throws it at Naruto to make him shut up. Still using the force, she makes sure she could get a word in, you have GD holocron. Naruto holds up 6 fingers and nods his head. The teen removed the pillow, calling it back over to her, you have 6 GD holocron. How the Sith did you get 6 of them? They are really 2 for each person really. Revan, Xana, Kushina, and some other one who calls herself Faye. She also keeps telling me to call her grandma or Bachan for some weird reason. Revan and Xana both have made 2. Kushina and Faye made 1, and there's 2 more I have not found yet. Bachan has one of them and told me she would give it to me when I made Chknin, or a GD master as Revan calls it. The other one I am not sure where it is. But I know it's on the planet somewhere, Naruto tells her. How did you get 6 holocron? Uncle Luke only got 3, and that is after years of searching for them. I bet you stole them from another Jed, the teen says looking at Naruto. I never stole them. I found them. Then Gigi took one of them away, saying it was for my safety. Not that it matters. Do you know how to play shogi? Naruto asks. What shogi? The teen asks. Shogi? It's Chess, Shikamaru and Dove are not here and the nurse cut the call button so I can't call them to ask if they could play, Naruto tells her. Sure, the teen tries to move only to wince in pain. Lifting up the sheet she finds her leg wrap up in a plaster like sustains. Touching her belly, she feels wrapping. Pushing more she winces again in pain. Naruto gets and carries the board over to her before getting onto the end of her bed softly. The teen notes when Naruto moved he too was in pain. You know we could had used the force to play and move the pieces, the teen says not sure why Naruto did not do that. And not be able to sit next to you, yeah right. A true game of shogi you do not use the force to move piece you move them yourself, Naruto tells her blushing lightly. Hokage Tower. So she is another GD, a woman with blonde hair asks. Yeah you saw what she could do. Looks like she got more training than the kid, a man with white hair answers her. Whoever she is, she probably could beat him with just the force. What I am worried about is she turns out to be a Sith Lord. Also I got her ship and droid sealed up so no one can track it if need be. But the Uchiha getting away the council is looking for blood. And Naruto is in their sights. We need to get him to vanish for a few years, the woman says leaning forward resting her chin on her hands. I was planning to take him on a training trip for about 3 years. But this girl can't be left here. The council will go nuts over her. Trying to breed her or use her to get the Uchiha brat to come back. Or Danzo may make a move for her, the man says frowning a little at the thought of the old warhawk getting the girl. But that's one problem but the girl, the woman says. I could take her with us. Hate to say it, but the brat needs someone like her. She may be able to help him use the force and may be able to understand those bloody holocron thingies, the man said with a sigh. Besides Shess not going anywhere soon. Unless her friends show up and even then from what I got from the holocrons, they can't land or bring a large force. At most it will be a small group of 5 that lands and stay for a week, then leave for good. The woman sat there thinking for a few minutes, the only sound in the room was them breathing. Down below in the street they could hear people going about their day. What do you plan on working with him? The woman finally says something after 10 minutes. Mostly work on his chakra control. His genjutsu is well 0, so that needs a lot work on. Kakashi told me was working on kenjutsu a little with him. He got him to a high genin rank in the art. So I will also work on that with him. I may not be a master like the snake, but I can get him some help or to the point the holocrons can take over. I am also going to increase his jutsu list. Only knowing less than 10 is going to get him killed, the man says leaning up against a window still. And the girl, what do you plan on doing with her, the woman asks. Other than seeing what she can do. I was hoping you lean me a few medical scrolls. Something tells me she may just be a medic in the making or talk Anko coming with us and working with her, the man says sighing. Very well. Give this to the brat when you see him again. Also you turn him into a pervert, I will not only ban your books from being sold here and in the country I will post female Anbu at the hot springs to keep you away. Next I will let Anko remove your family jewels. Am I clear Jiraiya, the woman says growling out the name. Crystal clear Tsunade, Jiraiya says before leaving through an open window after picking up a scroll Tsunade was holding. Damn you sensei, why did you hide this from me? Tsunade says to herself looking at another scroll that show her a family bloodline, blood test, DNA test, and a family tree. If I had known I would have been here sooner. At least I can start now. I wonder if I can still open the compound. Hospitable. You are using the force, Naruto shouts at the teen. I'm not. You just suck at this game, the teen yells back. Do not, Shikamaru can beat anyone and I have stalemate with him a few times, Naruto whines and pouts. Find I will not use the force only if you tell me about the holocron, the teen said grinning hoping to find them. Why do you want to know? Only 3 other people can get to them, counting myself, Naruto says wondering why the teen wanted them. Because you stole them, the teen shouts. I did not steal them. You know what, I will prove it right now, Naruto shouts back pulling out a scroll from his jacket pocket. Unrolling he unseals a pyramid, the pyramid was made out of a black and gold metal with red glass. The teen could feel the dark side flowing away from the holocron. Naruto turns the top all the way around before using small force lighting also known as a force shock. The teen began to worry that Naruto was a Sith. An image of a young woman appliers, the teen could make out a few features of the woman. The woman was about average height and what looked like blonde hair. The eyes seemed to change colors as the holocron look around the room. The woman eyes land on Naruto before grinning, so come back for another story my dear. The teen was surprised at the voice. It had no hate at all, in fact almost sound caring and loving like a mother or grandmother would sound like. Naruto shakes his head before speaking, no just showing Jina solo, the teen says taking a deep breath. The woman turns to look at Jina, her eyes seem to look into Jina's soul. The woman then start to grin evilly before laughing, I must say for a GD to find this place is shocking. The last one to make it here was Master Fei. Now she was powerful like the GD of the old republic, not the ones of this day and age. But you girl have powerful blood. It feels like. So their child did survive and have their own. Solo must be the new name. Not surprising since Shan was a name all Sith fear and hatred. I still hate her for he would never truly love me because of her. But I will give you a chance to redeem your family's honor in my eyes. Now if Naru-chan is done showing me off I am going to take my leave. Oh Naru-chan, oh, next time to unlock this holocron you must use force lighting. I will not have my descend a weakling even if my other holocron is a GD. With that the woman vanishes, the holocron relocks itself and shuts off. The aura descendant of Darth Xana. How's it you not trying to kill me or turn me to the dark side right now, Jina asks in shock. What's the dark side, because they all keep talking about the force being one thing just many different parts to it. Revan talks about, well his Sith side talks about the rule of two and battle tactics. His GD holocron talks about lightsaber forms and the powers he use. Faye talks about letting the force flow through you. And Mum talks about more lightsaber forms and another force powers that her family learn over the years. And Xana both talk about Sith lighting and Sith powers unlike Faye who also talks a lot about GD powers, Naruto explains to her. Wait, you do not know about the light and dark side of the force, Jina says, her eyes as large as the Death Star. A little, but from what they talk about or at least Revan talks about the force it sounds like water. The light side be calm and gentle, the dark side be fierce and powerful. But he also said they are both the same thing. And I agree because as a GD both Revan and Xana use Sith powers but did not feel the pull, Naruto explains a little to her. They did, you said Revan was a Sith Lord and Darth Xana is a famous Sith Lord, Jina shouts at him. Not when they dead. They're Sith holocrons they made first. The GD ones later on in life, they both died as a GD from what Mum told me about them. Form would it sound like they dead together in some war, Naruto says looking mad. But I thought once you fell to the dark side you could not come back to the light side, Jina says thinking about what she heard. Wait, Darth Xana said he would not truly love her because of some other woman. Why was that? Oh, that Bastila Shan, she was the one who stopped Darth Revan and made him turn back to the light side. I guess from what the GD holocron of Revan talks about she was a really powerful GD knight. But I would not know, Naruto shrugs and scratched the back of his neck. Naruto then snapped his head to the window to see Jiraiya sitting in the window still. What do you want, Iro-sensei? Naruto asks looking at the man. Jina is a man was a tall man with extremely long and spiky white hair tied back into a ponytail, with two shoulder-length bangs that framed both sides of his face. He also had red lines that ran down from his eyes and wore a horned forehead protector with the kanji for oil hitch denotes his affiliation with Mount Mamboku. Jiraiya wore a green short shirt kimono and matching colored pants, under which he wore mesh armor that showed out of the sleeves and legs of his outfit. His outfit was completed with hand guards, a simple black belt, traditional Japanese jeta, a red cloak with two simple yellow circles, and a toad summoning scroll on his back. Will you stop calling me that, Gaki? Jiraiya yells at Naruto. When you stop calling me Gaki, Naruto counters grinning like a fox at the man. So why are you here? You are going to show me another super powerful jutsu? No. I am here to check up on you. Want to make sure you okay after taking the mission, okay, Jiraiya says seeing Naruto looking down even if he hit it well. And I am also here to tell you I am taking you on a 3-year-long training trip. But Jiraiya say caused several different things to happen. First was Jina looked down for losing the only person who knew how to use the force on the planet while she was stuck here for force knows how long. Naruto looked worried about something else. I can't go with you. I got to get better then go and get Sasuke back before Orochimaru takes over his body, Naruto says with a fire burning in his eyes. You are in no shape to take on all of Odo, even with an army of your clones, you still would not be able to do anything. Thanks to you guys the snake was forced to transfer bodies sooner, so we got 3 years to get you stronger. And this time I am going to be working with you every step of the way. Hopefully we can get your kenjutsu up so those holocron will let you build a lightsaber. Because if you want to storm Oda you are going to need one, Jiraiya tells him throwing the scroll at Naruto. Not sure what's in it, but probably another holocron thingy. Also your girlfriend is joining us on our little trip. Jiraiya laughs out loud as both teens stutter and sputter on trying to deny them being girlfriend-boyfriend. Jina was the first to get her thought together, mainly from her training. Why am I joining you? I need to find a way to contact my family and master to tell them where I am at. I can't let you do that. Any message you send out will let everyone know about us. Every GD or force user that came here never left because what the Gaki ancestors set up. Second, even if you got a message out somehow anyone coming in will crash ether into an ocean or lava flow. How you made it down means you are a good pilot and well in tone with the force, Jiraiya informs her. As for getting you out of here. There are a few forces in the village who would love getting their hands on you for their own gain. So it's to keep you safe and hope you can help the Gaki over there with using the force. Also I am getting a few scrolls you may find helpful. So you are telling me I really have no say in the matter, Jina states more than ask. Yep, pretty much. See you two later. One more thing Naruto. Your girlfriend is not to leave this room other than the bathroom. Tsunade has to give psi paper for anyone to enter. Also if you know the person make them do something they can do and no one else can, Jiraiya said before leaving. Jina just sat there trying to come up with a plan on getting out of the village and back home. Naruto for his part just took the board back to his bed and sat down. He rests the board and began to move pieces around on the board. Once the board was set he began to play it again. Jina watches for a minute wondering why he kept playing by himself. She then notes he was writing things down into a scroll. She saw one of the names he said earlier. To her it looks like a profile on the person until looking at it more. It had dates and times on. Better have a good reason to call me here, a woman said as she wipes the sleep out of her brown eyes. Her brown hair was a mess showing she just got out of bed in a rush. She had thrown on the first clean clothing she could find. Turning out to be a pair of pants and a tank top. In her arm was a tan cloak she grabs in case it was going to be cold. Handing from her tool belt was a small metal tube. I think you will find this interesting. We found him inside a restricted area, a man said in a military uniform. The crisp white uniform stood out in the dull grey corridors. The man military cut black hair showed a patch of white hair. His green eye keep looking straight ahead as if someone was going to jump out. Then it should have been solving in imperial courts. So why did you need me, the woman said now a little more awake. The man hands her a knife of some kind. The weapon itself was made for thrust and stabbing. The blade was about 4 inches long as was the handle. As the end of the handle was a small ring. Where did you get this, the woman asks looking at it. She had seen them before but could not place it. The man had it on him. He does not speak common, so I am hoping you would give me a hand with him, the man said looking at the woman. Fine, but I want a protocol droid in there with me, the woman tells the man as she puts the blade into a tool pouch. Done. And here you will need this, the man says as he passes her a data pad. Both look into a room with a table and 2 chairs. In the room sat one person looking at them. The woman takes a deep breath before entering the room. The man's head snaps to the doorway as the woman enters. His blue eyes follow her as she walks to the table and sits down. Short time later a black human-looking droid walks in. Bowing to the woman the droids start to talk in a female voice. I am 1B8DGE3. I am here to help you translate anything this man says. The woman lets out a sigh, remembering why these types of droids only work in ports and in the government. Nodding her head she looks at the man across from her. Let's begin. You have no records of any kind so either you've been very good other than this one time or you've been doing a very good job on staying out of the system. Do you have a name? The man looks at the droid then to the woman, his face gave nothing away, his blue eyes turn ice cold in less than a heartbeat, scaring her a little. Breathing slowly she starts again, do you understand anything I am saying? The man leans back into his chair and grins like a fox. Lifting up his left hand he holds up 3 fingers and drops on. The woman frowns at this but keeps going, tell me what is this? The woman lays the knife on the table not knowing that was the worst thing she could have done. In a blink of an eye the man had the knife and pinned her to the wall. Leaning close he whispers into her ear, remember. 2 men in white armor run into the room holding blasters as the man steps back dropping the knife and holding one finger up before speaking again, I have placed bombs throughout this ship. You have one more try before I destroy this ship. But I am willing to make a trade. First I want my daughters. Second I want my things back. Next I want a new ship thanks to you people destroying my old one. Third I want to fight the strongest Jedi there is. Fourth this woman here will fly me to a place of my choosing. And lastly you will let me go dropping the charges. No one is to leave the ship or I set the bombs off. The woman looks at the droid who shakes its head telling her sorry. Getting up the woman leaves trying to figure out what the man said. The man is at the same time led out of the room by force. The woman watches him before sitting down to think. That did not go as planned, the first man said with a small laugh. Not now Jag. I have the feeling he placed a threat in that little speech of his, the woman said closing her eyes as her sleep catches up to her. Well this does prove that planet is real, the man now known as Jag says sitting down next to her. You still think they are just dreams, the woman says looking at the wall across from her, everyone did and she knew it. Yes but this does help. I just wish I knew what the hell he was speaking, Jag says letting out a sigh. He knows what we are speaking, but I can't understand a word he says. Did you understand any of it, Jag asks. A little other than GD I got the feeling he wanted something. Or a few things, as for what they are I am not sure, the woman says. Look go get some sleep the guest quarters are open for you, Jag says with a smile. Really you are putting me with the rest of your guest quarters. I must say I thought you would officer me your bed, the woman says with a small smile. Maybe when you are awake Jina, Jag says before leaving to take care of his ship. Jina stands up and stretches a little. Even in her early 30s, even if she looks like she was in her 20s, she was still at the top of her game. Very few could beat her in a duel. During the Yuz Hinvong War, she gains the title of Sword of the Jedi from her fellow Jedi and friends. The Yuz Hinvong had a different name for her, Yun Harla the goddess of deception. But thou few that frauder called her death. Even her brother who she thought was better and stronger fell to her. Sighing she made her way to her quarters for the night only to stop. Walking back into the room she picks up the knife and takes it with her. Next day, so you ready to talk yet? Jina asks once again in the same room as before, this time with 2 troopers covering her. You remember yet? The man asks back. The man frowns seeing Jina puzzle look. You can't remember anything, can you? I gave you the knowledge of my lang. Remember Jina solo. Jina sat there stunned, she never once said her name, and this person knew it. Who are you? I am last of my kind. A warrior who walks both path of the force like you did once. But now I see only light. What happened to you, Jina? The man said. Jina found it easier to understand him with every word he said. Have we met before? Jina asks, trying to place him now. Yes, we have. I sent a queen at you. I was surprised that you stop it in your sleep like that, the man said with a fox-like grin. I do not remember, Jina says, shaking her head, remembering she need to get back what she was asked to do. Can you give me your name? Naruto Uzumaki, the Rakudame Hokage, the Kikbi no Imko, Naruto says, bowing his head before grinning again. Jina wonders if the man only grins and what the Kikbi meant. You understand, you enter a restricted space. And it looks like your ship codes to not match any in the records, Georgia or Imperial. Is there any reason for that? Jina asks, trying to figure out the case out. I did not know it would be restricted space. I entered the hyperspace coordinates you gave me. Once again, how am I supposed to know when it's my first time coming into this area of space? Naruto replies. Jina frowns at this. She knew the Empire gave a warning before using a tractor beam on a ship. Making a note, Jina keeps going. You had 2 droids with you. One is a very old T3 series utility droid, heavily modified, and a very dangerous battle droid. Who built that model? Darth Revan. Why? Did someone finally figure out how to make a clone of it, or are they still trying to make cheap knockoff? Because both droids have been in my clan for years, Naruto speak with a low tone, getting bored. Jina nods her head before reading more on the droids. You understand both droids will be destroyed for killing about half dozen stormtroopers each, Jina utter in before the airdrop a few degrees. HK is a hunter-killer droid, but it will not attack without my say. The only reason you have dead stormtroopers is because they attacked first and went after both of my daughters. Now you tell me something, where are my daughters? Naruto says no, commands Jina. Looking through the datapad, Jina frowns seeing nothing on any girls being with him. They said you were alone. Ha 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 ha. That's good, that's really good, Naruto says, laughing for a minute. Jina would swear for the rest of her life that room temperature dropped to 0 in a millisecond. You have 24 hours to find them. And for them to be in my arms or I will break out and kill anyone and everyone in my way. Jina gets up and leaves, not feeling safe anymore. Jag waits for her by the door, catching and holds her close for a minute. Jina pushes away and looks into Jag's eyes. You lied to me. He has 2 daughters, where are they? Safe. And they are not his daughters. One is a slave he had with him and the other one was being trained to be a killer. What type of father does that? Jag replies, angry, thinking Jina believe him. Who or whatever they are, you have 24 hours to get them here or he goes on a killing spree and I would bet my lightsaber on him winning. Until you get them here I am done. And I want the whole truth, not what you want me to believe. Jina looks to her left ring finger and pulls of the ring and throws it at Jag. Jina walks away from a stunned Jag who just watches her leave. Once she is gone, Jag walks into the room where Naruto sat, tapping his fingers. Jag walks up to him and pulls Naruto to his feet before slamming him into a wall. What the hell did you do to her? Jag yells at Naruto, who just blinks at him before frowning. Reaching up, Naruto grabs Jag's right hand and peels it off his shirt painfully. Both stormtroopers move to stop only to find their blaster pulled from their hands and float in front of them. Jag found himself in an arm lock with his right arm locked behind his back by one hand from Naruto. You know, I played dumb because I thought you guys would come around. But you attacking me is the final straw. I have played nice, never once fought back and did almost everything you wanted me to do other than talk. Now you come in here telling me I did something to my friend. You have a lot of guts or just a baka. Either way, I am leaving this ship and getting my daughters back now or I will kill you in front of everyone on the planet below us, Naruto says, he blonde hair flying around from the chakra output. Pushing, he forces Jag to start moving. Both troopers walk backwards, keeping Naruto and their leader in sight. Jag for his part fought back and tries to figure a way out of the mess he was in. Jina had just reached her room when alarms start to go off. Captain, what's going on? Jina yells at a passing trooper. Mom. Seems Mofel has well been taken captive, the troop states, looking down the hall for a minute. I need to get going, Mom. Lead the way then. If it are prisoners then you are going to need my help, Jina tells the trooper, who nods and leads the way. As they got closer, blaster fire could be heard and signs of blaster marks were everywhere, on walls and troopers. Coming up to a corner, the troop peeks around before ducking back. holding up one finger then grabs his right arm with his left hand then his neck in a choking manner. Jina nods her head understanding what he meant. 2 more hand signs later the trooper runs across the hallway to another point. Jina moves up to the corner before looking down the hallway. Naruto was moving down the hallway backwards dragging Fell along. In his hand was an old Senate Guard blaster rifle. But as everything else it looks heavily modified. The color scheme seemed to be weird to say the least and the way it seemed to have no recoil. But Naruto wield the orange rifle with ease as if he trains with it all his life. "You will not get off this ship," Jag says with a small groan of pain only for Naruto to growl at him. "Watch me, Baka. You should be grateful I am no using you as a human shield. I could shoot you and made it look like you got hit in the crossfire." "So shut it," Naruto says before spinning and firing at both Jina and the hidden trooper. Even being in wars before still could not stop from Jina letting out a small scream as she watches the troop take to the head. Stepping out Jina pulls her lightsaber out and uses the force to take Naruto blaster only for it to vanish in a cloud of smoke. "Stand down Jina, I have no quarrel with you. I know you have grown in strength since the last time we met. But without those memories you will not be able to beat me," Naruto says growling at the end as a red energy starts to seep out of his skin and clothing. Jina puts her weapon away holding out her hands. Jag for his part kept adding wood to the fire, "You harm her and you will have the GD after Dot." Naruto cloak of red energy starts to curl up his arm burning Jag's clothing and arm. "What do you want? Now you ask. Yara really Baka. But I will tell you, first I want my daughters in my arms, next I want both of my droids back. Third I want what's left of my ship back. I want a new ship to replace my old one. Now hear the hard part, I want my wife back. I want everyone who I care for back. I want Jina memories returned so she can remember everything in those 3 years we traveled together for. And I want you to tell the galaxy about your little training camp that you used to turn out little toy soldiers," Naruto growls into Jag's ear. The color in Jag's face vanishes hearing the last line Naruto says. Jag eyes then harden as he shouts his left elbow into Naruto breaking free. Turning Jag pulls out a holdout blaster out and aims it at Naruto. Naruto slowly stands back up and frowns seeing the blaster aim at him. "I am sorry, but the last one I can't do and I can't have you telling Ether," Jag says firing around at Naruto, who remains still letting the blaster bolt hit him right in the abdomen. Jina eyes widen seeing Jag act this way and kill Naruto. Naruto body hits the metal floor with a thud and does not move. Jag eyes still remain hard fires 2 more rounds into his back to make sure he was dead. Jina growls lowly at him before using the force to push him out of the way. Sliding to a stop next to Naruto body Jina does everything she could to keep, even if she already knew he was dead, Naruto from dying. Jag frowns then walks away to get a few stormtroopers to clean up the body and make sure Jina mind gets wipe of what happened. If he stuck around he would see Naruto's skin start to heal. Jina watches Naruto's skin that was blackened by blaster slowly heal and turn back into its lightly tan color that it once was. Pulling out her lightsaber Jina makes a quick cut, removing the orange jumpsuit he was wearing. Rolling him over onto his back Jina watches as the first blaster burn heals as well. Reaching out with the force Jina feels Naruto life starting to return to him, along with something dark and evil. Using the force to look closer she saw both the light and dark side inside Naruto. Naruto being the light side and this new energy being the dark side of the force. He could use both sides of the force without any problems. In fact he just likes Uncle Luke, Jina says in her mind. Naruto opens his eyes slowly as if he had no energy. Jina notes his eyes seem to be a mix of red and blue, with vertical slits for pupils. Letting out a small grown 10 seals appear on his body before glowing and vanishing again. Jina is floored by a bout of energy now flowing through Naruto. Standing up Naruto looks down to find he was only in the orange pants of the prisoner suit he was given. "Damn," Naruto says before channeling his chakra into his left hand and making a 2-finger salute. Running down the back of his left thigh. Jina watches as not only he cuts the pants but his legs as well. Reaching into the cut Naruto pulls out a small scroll of some kind cover in his blood. Jina then watches as his thigh knits itself back together. Using his chakra again Naruto cleans the scroll of all the blood on it. Opening it, Naruto pushes his chakra into the first seal on it, making a set of clothing appear. Looking around Naruto walks into the first room he can find leaving Jina sitting on the ground, still trying to figure out what she just saw. Naruto walks back out in a black armor and robes. Look up Darth Revan's armor. The chest plate was made out of a heavy black metal with silver etchings. Both arm guards had the same seal on them in silver as did the shin guards. The gloves were metal weave cloth with metal plates engraved with a seal on the back of the hand. The black belt held 5 lightsabers and 2 tool pouches. On his right leg was a kunai and shuriken pouch. The cape was black with dark red flames running along the bottom. A long black kama with a red sash finishes the outfit off. Rolling his shoulders Naruto stretches out to get the feel for the clothing when he notes Jina sitting there looking up at him. "That's going to come after you next," Naruto says before pulling her to her feet. Jina just remains dumbfounded. She saws his well-toned chest and arms. Now Naruto was dressed in the same clothing that her favorite, not she tell anyone, Sith Lord wore, and it looked way better on him. But what shocked her the most were the 5 lightsabers. One was a dual blade saber, every rare, and from the look it was every old, making it even rarer. The rest all had a different color band running around it, purple, orange, red, sky blue, and gold. "Look, you know these ships probably better than me and my clone, so mind leading the way to the hangar bay. I mean, why make a ship always look all the same?" Naruto whines, making Jina wonder if this was the same person who just broke out of his holding cell and get up after taking 3 blaster bolts. Shaking her head, Jina narrows her eyes at him. "Tell me first how you survived those blaster bolts," Jina demands, wanting to make sure she was not helping out a Sith Lord. Naruto starts to grin as he looks down into Jina's eyes, that for the first time releases that Naruto was a little more than a half a foot taller than her. Naruto's eyes shift in color from the blue to a dark orange color like a setting sun. His canine grew a little longer to the point, then his lips are close, they would be poking them. Jina then spots what looks like 2 dog or fox ears on top of Naruto's head. What happens next made Naruto laugh outright as Jina practically jumps out of her own skin when she feels something soft rub the back of her neck. Grabbing it, she finds a red tail leading back to Naruto, who had 8 more, all with blonde tips. Jina notes his fingernails had also grown and became pointed to look like a claw. "Do you believe in demons?" Naruto said in her ear before turning back into a human again. Cracking his neck, Naruto pulls out a kunai and throws it down the hallway into a stormtroop that was hiding. "Time to get moving, Jina." Nodding slowly, Jina shakes her head to clear her mind. Naruto waits for her to nod again, this time showing she was ready. Taking the lead, Naruto starts running at a good speed. This forces Jina to use force speed to keep up with him. Pulling out one of his lightsabers, Naruto takes a slid past intercession, activating it. A red blade appears, cutting into the metal. Jina watches as he slides past the intercession and keeps going. Running up, she looks to see 2 black stormtroopers lying on the ground. Not stopping, Jina wonders why Jag was calling in the shock troopers. Clearing her head again, Jina picks up her pace, catching up with Naruto. Naruto pulls out another saber, only for it to be a purple blade like Jina, but darker in color. Coming up to a walk, Naruto throws the blades into the, having them spinning horizontally. Using the force, Naruto has them make 2 cut 6 feet away from each other, 4 feet wide. Calling them back, Naruto cuts into the wall before slamming his shoulder into it, making a new doorway. Ducking into a roll, Naruto rolls into the room as Jina leaps over the small lip. Naruto comes out of his roll and makes a mad dash for the shuttle that was getting ready for takeoff. Jina reaches out in the force and feels every stormtrooper closing in on them. Pick up the speed again, she follows Naruto up the ramp, closing it behind her. Moving to the cockpit, Jina finds Naruto holding the copilot by the neck, crushing his throat. The pilot was slumped over dead, bleeding from his neck. Jina winces when a loud snap has filled the room. Naruto drops the limp body now to the floor before pulling the pilot's body from his chair and throwing it to the ground. Naruto turns to see Jina looking at him in fear before reaching for her saber. "Who are you really?" Jina says as her hands shake in fear. She could not figure out where the fear was coming from. Even the force was not helping her to calm down. Naruto appears in front of her, grabbing her hand, holding it to keep it steady. Taking it, he aims it so if she would turn the blade on, it would pierce his head. Closing his eyes, he takes 2 deep breaths before opening them. A father would well destroy planets to get his daughters back, no matter the cost to his body, Naruto says as he lets go. Jina finds her hand had stopped shaking and stares at him until banging could be heard. Naruto curses in his native tongue as he runs to the boarding ram with both sabers in hand. Jina could hear him yelling at her, "Get us out of here now." Looking out the window, Jina did not need to be told for a second time. Jumping into the pilot's seat. Jina hears blaster fire. Looking at the camera, she saw Naruto standing at the foot of the ramp, using his sabers to holding off a platoon of troopers and a fire team of shock troopers. Lifting off, Jina moves the shuttle so it could fly out of the hangar as Naruto slices into another trooper. Seeing the ramp still lower, Naruto pushing chakra into his legs, leaps up onto the ramp and runs inside to the main holding area as the ramp closes. As soon as the ramp is sealed, Jina flies out of the hangar. Punching in the hyperspace coordinates for the Hapes consortium, mainly Hapes itself. With luck, she could learn about him and get her memories back and get him some help at finding his daughters. Jina lets out a small breath as the stars race by in hyperspace. Looking around, she remembers the 2 dead bodies lying on the ground next to her. Getting up, Jina moved to the main cargo hold to find something odd. Naruto was hunched over holding a hologram picture of 2 girls. Looking closer, she notes one was a Twi'lek, making her wonder if she was the one Fell said was the slave. Stepping closer, Jina saw Naruto is mumbling "I'm sorry" over and over again. Sitting down next to him, Jina remains quiet, waiting for him to speak. "None of this should have happened," Naruto says, holding the hologram photo still. We came out of hyperspace on the edge of the system before broadcasting the message we agree on. Short time later 2 more ships arrive firing ion cannon at us. I download what data I could and wipe the rest. Making a few shadow clones, I gather what we would need and sealed it away with the data into the scroll you saw earlier. About that time they had got a boarding team ready. I sent another clone to meet them. Shot straight into its chest. I had the girls hide with the droids guarding them. I charged straight onto the battle, taking down as many as I could, hoping to find a way out of the mess we got into. I do not know how many I was able to stop, but they finally got me. I heard screaming coming from the hiding place and knew they found them. Blaster fire was heard next. I could not move. But I saw them drag Mission first, then a knockout Anko. At that time my world went black. Their boyfriend was there when I woke up. He told me that they would be joining his new corps. If I was not groggy at the time I would have. Jina grabs his arm, making Naruto look at her. I lost both of my brothers. When my youngest brother died, I nearly lost it. I wanted to kill them all for what they had done. You are lucky you can get them back. It took my mom shaving her head to bring me back and my aunt both willing to walk with me and help me cope with losing him. Jaden was worst because I had to kill him. He turned to the dark side wanting to rule and believe he had the right to rule. I still hate it to this day I could not bring him back. Jina takes a breath before looking at the photo and smiles sadly. So woes Mission and Huanko. I do not want to get them mixed up when I meet them. Naruto laughs lightly at this and grins once again. Anko is the oldest. Naruto points to the human girl. Takes after the Anko she was named after. Kind of a mix between her parents and Anko-san. Loved to blow things up as a prank, but has a crazy sweet tooth. If we were still in the village she would be a genin. Mission is adopted. I found her mother dying on the first planet I found. Even after I found her mother she only lives about 3 months. I never knew her name so I named Mission after one of my ancestors' companions back when he was saving the galaxy. Anko took her right in as if she was her own blood and flesh. Mission probably would wander off if someone let go of her hand for a millisecond. I even place a tracking seal on her just in case I lose sight of her. They both have one just in case something like this happen. Look, we are going to see a friend of mine who most likely help. She lost her daughter to the Empire like you have. If she does not, I know a few people who will help you out. I am going to get some sleep. You should too and clean up the mess you made in the cockpit because I can't fly with those two there, Jina says, standing up and walking away to find a place to sleep. Naruto watches her leave before looking at the photo again. After a minute Naruto puts the photo away, knowing he would need to take a new photo when he got his girls back. Standing up Naruto gets to the job given to him. Jina Solo rubbed the sleep out of her eyes as she walked into the main cargo hold of the shuttle she had stolen 3 days ago from her former fiancé. She was surprised when Naruto offered to sleep in the cargo hold with just a blanket and let her have the sleeping quarters. Jina guessed that the shuttle was owned privately before Fell got it. They had taken 2 of the cargo holds and turned it into a master suite, then changed into the crew quarters. Even with 2 beds Naruto took 1 blanket and went to the cargo hold. Opening the locker next to her bed, Jina pulls out some clothing that the former pilot used to use. Pulling out a tank top and skin-tight shorts, more like running shorts really when she looked at herself in a mirror. Pulling her hair back into a single tail, Jina heads out to the main cargo hold to find Naruto doing 1-armed push-ups with a small crate on his back. She watches as he did 10 more before pushing off the ground and switching to the other arm. Naruto did 100 more before switching again, finishing on his left arm. Once finished, Naruto did 200 more regular push-ups before lifting 1 leg and doing 100 more, then switched legs doing 100. Once finished, Naruto rolled the crate off his back and picks it up. Holding over his head, Naruto does 400 squats holding the crate up as a weight. Jina does a few stretches to stay limber as she watches, wondering if he really was that strong. The only other person or being shed seen do that was a Wookiee. Jina notes Naruto was only in a pair of orange and black pants. On his right shoulder blade was a scar that looks like a claw-like hand been slammed through his shoulder coming out his back. Near the small of his back was another scar, only this one looked like a vibroblade had been stabbed into his gut, turned and cut to the side. The bottom of his feet also had scarring, only these seemed to be from burns. She walked over to him once Naruto set the crate down and runs her finger along the edge of the oldest scar on his shoulder. Naruto feels her fingers and closes his eyes, knowing she was in shock and need to see they were real. Moving down Naruto's spine, Jina traces the lower scar. Now close up, she found many more, one that looked like it just missed his heart by a hair's width. Another that went through his kidney. Near the base over the neck was another, only it looked like someone attacked him with a broken glass bottle. Tracing them all, Jina began to wonder how he survived all of them. He should have been dead from any one of them. 13 scars was what she finally counted. She did not want to know how many more he had on his chest. Turning, Jina walked away to clear her head. Naruto remained still, remembering how he got each scar as Jina touched it. Shaking his head, Naruto grabbed his shirt. She would not need to see it again. Jina stands in front of the mirror again, this time looking at the 3 scars she had on her whole body. 2 on her back came from beatings at the hand of a dark Jedi. The last one she couldn't remember how she got it. It crosses right across her breast before going down her right breast, ending at the bottom of her ribcage in a zigzag, as if it was stopped by a human hand. They told her it was from a crash, but she could not remember a crash that would have given it to her. Tracing it, Jina feels something in the back of her mind awaken. Soon pain floods her mind and body, making her fall to her knees. Gripping her head, Jina begins to see pictures of her fighting someone. She could make out a man in black and red cloak holding a small sword. Next she sees what looks like a younger Naruto grabbing the blade. Last thing she saw was the younger Naruto holding her as he tried to stop the bleeding. Jina slowly stood up on shaky legs and put her shirt back on. Rubbing her temples, walked back out again to find Naruto with a black shirt on and the lotus style on top of the crate he was training with. Naruto turns when he felt Jina enter the room again. "Sorry about earlier. I didn't think you would be up for another hour," Naruto says before leaping to his feet. "I should be," Naruto holds up his hand and shakes his head. "It's been a while since I have traveled with anyone other than my daughters, so I forgot to wear the shirt. Anyway, I believe it's my turn to cook. What do you want?" Jina's eyes starts to twitch, seeing the faint grin on Naruto's face. "My cooking is not that bad. I just do not cook much is all. I never said it was bad. I am just offering so you can relax. You just broke up with someone close to you and were betrayed. I felt you could use the time to relax and get your head in order is all, before you go and do something rash," Naruto says, holding his hands up to hold off her attack. "Besides, I like your cooking when you did cook. Just don't let Mission cook." I'm still not sure how she did it. But somehow she burned water. Anko is insane, biggest mess ever, but the food is great if you don't mind dangos. I still am not sure how she uses every single dish, pot and pan to make 10 of those things. Unless, no, she would not dare, would she? Jina just raises an eyebrow as Naruto starts to talk to himself about food. Shaking her head, Jina walks into the refresher to get cleaned up before eating. Naruto waits until he hears the door to seal itself before unsealing everything he would need. Within 5 minutes you could smell whatever he was cooking fill the cargo hold. Jina walks out drying her hair to find something very weird. She remember when she went to take her shower there was only one Naruto, now seemed to be 3 of them. And each one was fighting over how to cook something. "No, you want to add lemon to it," the first one says, trying to add a lemon slice to whatever the other one was grilling. "No way, you want orange," says the second one, doing the same thing as the first. The third one just glared at the 2 of them before slamming his fist into both of their heads, making them vanish in a cloud of smoke, mumbling smart-ass clones. Jina just stood there with her jaw on the floor trying to figure out what just happened. So unless he somehow seal away cloning tanks, he is using a Sith technique of some kind. Naruto for his part just kept on cooking until it was finished. Pulling out a bowl, Naruto fills it with rice, then another with a soup, and lastly placing a fish on a small plate. Naruto then fills 2 more bowls with rice and soup and place another grilled fish on a plate. Walking over the small sitting area they had set up the first day, Naruto sets the food down before cleaning up everything. Jina finally picks up her jaw smelling the food and goes to sit down. Naruto joins her and saying a silent prayer to Kami to keep both his daughters safe. Picking up the chopsticks, Naruto begins to eat the food as Jina pokes it a bit before trying it. Naruto watches her closely, seeing if anything was wrong. "How soon till we reach Hapes, or whatever it was called?" Naruto asks, breaking Jina out of her thoughts. "We should be getting to the edge within a few hours from there, another day to make it to Hapes itself. If Tenel is on the planet at the time we should be able to meet her for lunch or dinner. If not, another day for us to either go to her or for her to return to the planet. But I have a feeling we are going to be seeing them sooner. After the last war, Tenel has been having her ship patrol the mist. So we'll probably get picked up before or just after we enter the mist," Jina says, thinking it over for a bit, taking a deep breath. Thinking of Hapes made her remember her brother and her family back on Coruscant, wondering what happened if Fell told them a lie or the truth. Should I even being trust this man who I just met over a person I knew for years and loved? So this Tenel person is in charge of the military or just powerful? Oh, what's the word? Oh, politician, Naruto asked, trying to think of the right word to us. Most of the politicians that came to the Leaf were ninjas, so he could deal with them. Non-ninjas he let the council deal with. No, Tenel is the Queen Mother as they call her. She is the ruler of the Hapes consortium and a powerful warrior. She is very beautiful and smart, so don't underestimate her or you may end up a head shorter, Jina says with a smile, now forgetting about the clones. Jina notes Naruto shaking his head for some reason with a far-off look in his eyes. Tenel has gold red hair and grey eyes, right? Naruto asks, coming out of his daze, making Jina wonder if he just got a vision. How did you know that? Jina inquires, now intrigued by Naruto. Naruto starts to grin like a fox, making Jina shiver, 1 part excitement, 1 part worry and 2 parts fear. She saw that grin before, it was the same grin he uses when she was questioning him aboard the throne. Why do you worry, I may do the vertical shuffle with her, Naruto says, grinning even more as Jina starts to blush at the thought before trying to hit him with her chopsticks, only for Naruto to grab them out of the air. Spinning them in his hand, Naruto hands them back to her with a grin before picking up his dish and hers. You GD need to lighten up. Beside, all I know is what she looks like and not to piss her off. Besides, I just know she is going to play a key point in getting my daughters back. You care greatly about them, Jina say, getting up helping him clean up. Naruto would wash and rinse, she would dry them off. As I told you, I will kill anyone in my way to get to them. I don't plan on sitting around and waiting for Dirtbag to give them to me. We both know too much, so he is going to try and take us out. If I place those tags right, he won't be getting anywhere anytime soon and his communications are down as well. But was he the guy who shot me? Naruto asks, wondering why the guy thought he made Jina do something. As soon as they reached this Hapes place, he was going to just get a ship and go on his own, not getting anyone else involved. His name is Fell. Until I find out what's going on, that's all he is, until I learn what really is going on, Jina says, making Naruto frown. Shaking her head, Jina lets out a sigh. Dad's is going to go on a killing spree if he thinks, never mind. What in the nine hells is a Moff? Is that the ruler of the Republic or something? Naruto asks, trying to remember anything that could be close to that title. The only he could think of was the Sith Wars. Rubbing the back of his neck, Naruto keeps washing. It's a title of sorts given out to a ruler or the person in charge of sectors and their systems. High Moff Fell is the leader of the Imperial Remnant. He thinks of himself as the emperor of a small group of systems. He has a lot of power backing him up. We need to be careful, and with the GD and Georgia trying to kill one another, it's not looking good. If we are lucky, he will claim you kidnapped me. If not, I don't want to know, Jina says as they finished up. Drying her hands off, she sat down to think things over. Naruto seals away everything before joining her. Naruto pulls out the holo picture of his daughters and turns it on and places it on the small table. Why are you showing me this? Jina asks, looking at the holo. Because they remind me why I am doing what I am doing. Everything I do now is for them. If it takes me destroying a world to just keep them safe, I will do it in a heartbeat. I have a reason to fight. I fight to protect those who are close to me. Because of that, I cannot fail. Find a reason, Jina, and you will understand and know what to do next, Naruto says, standing and heading to the refresher to get cleaned up now. Jina looks at the photo, wondering if she had a reason to fight and to be strong. Thinking back, she got stronger so she could remain with her friends. Then during the war she fought to keep them safe. And the last one was to stop her brother from killing her friends. Could that have been the reason why she was able to stop him? Did I win only because I had a reason to stop him? No, because he gave me an opening, but he gave it to me so he could warn Tenel about. So in the end he gave up his life so he could save who he cares about the most. Would I do the same? Jina sat there for a good time until Naruto got out dressed in a black shirt and black pants. His bare feet tapped the cold metal to unknown beat of some kind. Jina looks up at him, wondering when his hair got longer. It now reached down to knees. Making her wonder when it got so long. Seals, Naruto says, making her jump. Naruto laughs lightly at that as he seals away his old clothing into another seal in the scroll. Jina watches as a small cloud of smoke appear, then blow away by the vents pumping air into the room, showing no clothing. What did you say? Jina inquires as she focuses on Naruto's hair. Naruto grins playfully at her, making her blush. I know men like to stare, and I never took you as one, Jina. So tell me, is my butt cute or does it look hot and sexy, or is it all three? Naruto says, joking as he ducks under a small crate that Jina throws at him using the force. Laughing, Naruto ducks under two more crates before needing to jump back from Jina's purple lightsaber blade. Naruto ducks and weaves through the attacks, trying to find an opening to summon his saber. Spotting one, Naruto leaps back and summons the dual blade saber into his hand. His bronze to copper blade comes to life with a snap his sound. Ducking under and another strike to his head, Naruto counters with a low cut at Jina's legs. Jina leaps back and lands on her feet before dashing forward. Naruto falls into his first form. Jina falls into the second form and ready herself. Charging in, Jina is caught off guard by Naruto's face. Locking blades, Jina's eyes widen seeing Naruto smiling and laughing. Naruto spins back to his left and deactivates his blade, making Jina lose her footing. Jina pushes off badly and rolls back to her feet to feel her left ankle to be twisted. Pushing the pain away, Jina turns on her right foot, hoping to keep her injury covered and not seen. Naruto reactivates his blade and falls back into his stance. Jina attacks again in hopes of regaining some control. Naruto once again blocks. As both battle for dominance, Naruto slams his head into Jina's, making her reel back from the sudden attack. Naruto takes the opening shutting of his blade. In case she does not get her guard up in time, Naruto tries to run Jina through. Jina jumps away thanks to a warning in the force of more pain coming her way. Landing on her right foot, Jina clears her head with a quick shake before charging again. Naruto rolls to the side. Using the hilt, Naruto strikes out at Jina's left ankle, only for her to leap away. Naruto kept only one blade activated charges Jina, this time making her stay on the defense. Naruto attacks with an overhead strike and locking his blade again with Jina. Jina lashes out with her left knee making Naruto leap back, then jump over a leg sweep. Landing, Naruto once again meets Jina in battle. Naruto decides to end their little duel before it gets out of hand. Reaching out with the force, Naruto summons the rest of his blades to him. Then using wind chakra he holds all the blades aloft before activating them. Forcing Jina into another blade lock, Naruto moves the blades to strike at her. Leaping back, Naruto deactivates the one in his hand. Jina, stop, we're done. Jina narrows her eyes but stops when she sees a look of death in his eyes and lowers her blade before turning it off. Looking at the other one, Jina wonders if he would strike her down still. Naruto deactivates them before calling them back one at a time and sealing them away. Naruto eyes get that far off look again before smiling a minute later. That was fun, we are going to do that again sometime. Jina looks at him in shock here, she was trying to make him stop and in anger to her shame, finds out he thought that was fun. Jina sits down trying once again to figure him out, then why stop? Because you let your anger control you. I've seen what it does to people and they end up hating everyone. I didn't want that to happen to you. Besides, I wanted to prove a point. Unless you unlock those memories you cannot defeat me, Naruto says, looking worried about something. Rolling his shoulder, Naruto heads up to the cockpit to think a little bit and to let Jina think a little. Few hours later, Jina heads up to the cockpit holding 2 bowls of goop or whatever you call that gray stuff. Walking in, Jina finds Naruto leaning back in the co-pilot chair, reading a data pad of some kind. Sitting down in the pilot seat, Jina places a bowl in front of Naruto on the dashboard. What else would you call it? Naruto looks from the data pad and grins. Goop, how did you know? That's what I was thinking about, Naruto jokes, only to get head slap. You sealed all the food up, Jina says, pouting about her food she made. It's fine, Jina, Naruto says with a smile before trying it. Both ate in silence, just watching the stars race by in hyperspace. Naruto once again finished first and pulls out the pad again. Jina looks over and sees he is reading up on droid designs. Right now he was looking at YVH-1 or Yuz Hinvong Hunter Combat Droid. On another data pad he had what looked like IG-100. Grabbing it, Jina sees Naruto was looking at the stats of the IG-100. Jina wonders why he was looking at the stats of both droids. Everyone knew that YVH-1 was the best battle droid out in the galaxy as of right now. The IG-100 was during the Clone Wars and was the only advanced model the Separates had. If you would to put them head to head, the YHV-1 would win hands down. Putting the pad down, Jina spots a red light flashing on the dash. Looks like we're here, Jina says as she takes the control off autopilot. Naruto puts down his data pad and rolls his shoulders, nodding his head. Anything I should know about? Naruto asks as he stands up to get ready. Let me do all the talking and they may not let you off the shuttle until I can get you clear with the Queen Mother, Jina says as she slows them down and out of hyperspace. As they return to normal space, Jina eyes get big, seeing the command station with 6 defense fleet floating in their path. Jina turns to see Naruto had already left the room to get ready. Another light starts to flash and Jina turns communication on. That better be you, Jina Solo, and you better have a good reason for coming here, Jina's longtime friend and the Queen Mother demands in a playful voice of the channel. It's me, Tenel, and okay, no need to send in your private guards to free me. Do I have clearances to land on Starhome or do I need to head for a dragon? Jina asks as she takes the shuttle in. Head for Starhome, I'll meet you in the hangar. Also tell your friend that he or she needs to stay, Tenel tells her before the channel goes dead. Jina hears movement and figures Naruto just came back. So am I staying? Naruto asks as he sits back down. Yep, Jina says as she takes them in. You going to be okay with staying here? Jina asks, dressed in her GD robes again, as she stands by the landing ramp to board Starhome. Naruto was dressed in what looked to be a black jumpsuit with armor plating stitched into it, the cloth making the person wearing it able to stretch and move without any restraint on his feet, were a pair of sandals that did not make any noise when chakra was being channeled into them. On his back was the 2-hand lightsaber with a Senate Guard ceremonial blaster rifle that was painted orange. Naruto gives her a look telling her let them try. Do not do anything that will come back to bite me, Jina says before walking down the boarding ramp. Once at the foot of the ramp, Jina spots her friend surrounded by her guard. Her flaming red hair and gray eyes made her an angel. Her fair skin shows no signs of scarring other than her missing left arm. She was dressed in a green gown that had a mix of GD robes in. Jina walks over to her before bowing. Tenel returns the bow before both stand straight again. It's good to see you, Tenel, Jina says with a warm smile. Tenel returns the smile, but it seems forced. From the shadows, Naruto watches and waits. Something was wrong and he could not place it. Jina notes the smile seems forced. Is something wrong, Tenel? Jina asks, hoping Fel did not get to her and tell some lie. We need to talk. I have Ma Fel breathing down my neck about you being taken prisoner by some dark GD. Then I get word from Dala saying your uncle is being banished. Jina, what is going on? Tenel asks, worried her friend was getting herself into a big mist. I was not kidnapped and my uncle is being banished because Dala is using him to get control of the GD as punishment for what Jaden did, Jina says, seeing the hurt in Tenel's eyes. Jina, I'm sorry, Tenel says as 30 stormtroopers entered the hangar bay. Following behind them was Admiral Garoin. Her copper hair shined in the bright light of the hangar and stood out against the white uniform she wore. Her hazel eyes scanned the room before walking over to the two GD. Jina, Solo, so nice of you to join us. Your friend did not betray you, willing, if that's what you are wondering. She just found out about something she was trying to hide, Garoin says with a sneer. Jina shivers, knowing only of a few things that could be. We came to get you and your little boy toy. Now hand over your lightsaber and no one will get hurt. Did Fel send you? Jina says, wanting to know what was going on. Oh no, your dear boyfriend doesn't even know about this. Soon to be High Moff Draken is in command of this. Your new boy toy saw a little too much and we need him gone. And both you and Her Majesty here are both going to be leading Moff Draken's new force, making the GD and your boyfriend look worse than our emperor ever did, Garoin said with a very evil grin on her pale face. Turning to her troopers. Captain, I want that shuttle clean. Make sure no one can get off it without being seen and bring the man's body out. Yes, Mom, the trooper says before having his men enclose the shuttle. Jina watches as 5 troopers run up the ramp. After 10 minutes they return with no body. Mom, no one else is on board. What do you mean no one else is on board? Garoin yells in anger, he has to be on there somewhere. Check again. The troopers run back up and do their check over again, coming up empty once again. Garoin growls before rounding on Jina, where is he? I have no clue. I told him to stay on the shuttle, if Hess not there, then I don't know where he is. Now release us, Jina tells them, remaining calm as she lets out a breath she did not even know she was holding. Jina looks around the hangar trying to spot Naruto without looking. She spots a shadow move within a shadow and knows Hess safe. Take them away, Garoin says with a snarl as she leaves. 10 stormtroopers walk over to Jina and Tenel. Jina lets herself be led out of the hangar and down a hallway. After going down 2 levels and seeing no one, Jina begins to wonder what was going on. About a minute later, a purple bolt of energy hits the lead troop in the chest, followed by 4 more. The troopers break into a defensive possession only to find no one. The hallway was bare of any cover and the closest one was 10 yards in either direction. Pressing up against the hull, the stormtroopers do the best they could to hide. Jina and Tenel both throw themselves to the ground to stay out of the line of fire. 4 more purple bolts come flying down the corridor, hitting 3 more troopers in the chest. A 4th takes a hit to the leg. The stormtroopers begin to open fire, hoping to get a lucky hit. Jina watches as a person runs out into the fire to throw a knife of some kind down the corridor at them, only for it to go sailing past them. The person then vanishes in a cloud of smoke from the blaster fire. The stormtroopers slowly stop firing after the person vanishes. Jina looks at Tenel and sees she just got the same feeling to stay on the floor. Both GD watch as a yellow flash streaks down the walkway, coming right at them then passing. Jina watches as 2 of the stormtroopers' heads fall off and land on the floor. The flash comes racing back the other way, taking 1 trooper with it. A scream could be heard before a white figure at the end of the passage is seen trying to make a run for it, only for a large red claw to grab it and pull it back. The last 2 troops start firing again, hoping to kill whatever was down there. Jina feels the kunai in her pocket start to vibrate as the yellow flash starts coming down the passage again. Naruto sends a flying kick straight into the closest trooper as he appears in front of the GD with his red and purple blade drawn. The trooper doesn't even scream as all of the air in his lungs is forced out from his chest, crushing in on him. As the laws of physics start to catch up with him, the trooper finds himself flying headfirst into a bulkhead. The last standing trooper levels his blaster on Naruto, only to find himself looking at his own body upside down before dying. The last troop fires from the floor only to be sent flying thanks to a powerful force push into another bulkhead, knocking him out. Is this why you wanted me to stay on board, so I could save your cute ass? Naruto says, pulling Jina to her feet with a fox-like grin. Once on her feet, Jina helps Tenel to her feet. Naruto looks Tenel over quickly before turning to Jina, we're doing this my way. I'm not going to let your GD code get in the way. Fine, but we need to get to the bridge. Tenel is going to need to give orders, Jina says as Naruto hands her own lightsaber back and the one with the blue stripe on it. Jina takes them, wondering why Naruto was giving her an extra one. I only use one. She doesn't have hers, and I can already tell she knows how to use one. Besides, it will be easier for you two to get there without you needing to cover her and make sure she doesn't get hit by blaster fire, Naruto says as he summons the kunai to him that he threw and seals it away. And what will you be doing? Tenel asks, taking the lightsaber from Jina. I am going to get answer from that admiral and Moff, Naruto tells her, placing his sabers on his belt. How are you going to find them? Tenel demands. I am not going to let you go destroying my space station. Easy, I'm a clone. The boss just gave me those two sabers before following the admiral in hopes of finding them off, Naruto says with a sigh. Look, I am about to run out of chakra here soon. Anything you want the boss to know? The moth will most likely be in my private quarters on level 2 in the Queen's castle, Tenel tells the clone before it vanishes in a cloud of smoke. Tenel looks to Jina and asks one of the biggest questions that would soon be racing across Veers, who is he Jina? Not sure, but he seems to know me from those 3 ears that are blank, Jina says as both her and Tenel head for the bridge. Jina was not surprised when Tenel rips off the dress showing of one of her training outfits under the dress. Rolling her shoulders, Tenel nods her head in understanding as they come up to a bulkhead guarded by 2 stormtroopers. Both GD threw out their right hand sending a force wave at the 2. Both guards are thrown into the metal and are knocked out. Tenel runs up to the lockpad as Jina covers her. Entering her code, Tenel opens the door to find 2 of her guards doing the same thing as she and Jina were doing. Your Majesty, the one at the pad says quickly as she bows her head. What are you 2 doing? Tenel says in shock for she thought all of her guards had been locked up. We have been trying to find you, my queen, the other says bowing her head as well. Are there any more? Tenel asks wondering if they could retake the ship. 6 more mom, but we do not have any more weapons, the first one says until Tenel points at the 2 blasters on the ground. Find the rest of my guards and free them. Get them weapons and get ready to take our home back. GD Solo and I will keep going for the command bridge, Tenel says getting a nod from the 2. Both grab the blasters, then move off to find more weapons and free their sisters, as they called one other, to fight back. Both Jina and Tenel head down another pathway at great speed, thanks to the force. Soon Jina feels like she is going to slow and tries to push more energy into her running. Only problem was a sudden burst of energy coursing through her body throws her off balance and into a wall head first. Flashback. So why am I doing this again? I can already use the force, a younger Jina says in frustration to a man with extremely long and spiky white hair tied back into a ponytail, with 2 shoulder-length bangs that framed both sides of his face. He also had red lines that ran down from his eyes and wore a horned forehead protector with the kanji for oil. He wore a green short shirt kimono and matching pants, under which he wore mesh armor that showed out of the sleeves and legs of his outfit. His outfit was completed with hand guards, a simple black belt, traditional Japanese jeta, wooden sandals, and a red cloak with 2 simple yellow circles. Because I was able to beat you and the brat over there could beat you without using the force, the man says with a grin. You wonder why 2 of the strongest force users ever to walk this galaxy made sure this planet stays hidden. It's because we can defeat any force power you throw at us. Jina sits down crossing her legs in a huff, fine, but why does the eyesore get to go swimming and I have to mediate? He isn't swimming, in fact once you unlock your chakra you will be doing the same thing he is doing. Walking on water after you get while walking down, the man says as he pulls out his notepad and writes something down. Now the key to unlocking your chakra knows where to find it. The man pulls out a large drawing pad and draws the human body on it. He then began to draw lines in the body crossing one other at times. Once he finishes with the lines he started to place points until it had 361 points. This is your chakra pathway that runs through your body, mine and Tsunade Haim's bodies. Now animals have their own pathways but are different from a human. So an alien pathway would be different than ours. It would be like saying a pebble is not a stone, well they are both the same, they are different, you understand. Yeah, so you are saying everything has chakra. But if that is true then does that mean chakra is the same as the force, Jina asks scratching her chin thinking about it. No, I am no expert on the force, but from my understanding the force is more spiritual. And chakra is more physical. They are both needed to make life, so it's like a fire. You need wood and oxygen to make a fire. Wood is your chakra and oxygen is your force. Jina remains quiet for some time thinking over what she was told, so I need to find a physical-like energy in me, right? The man nods as he writes something else down in his notepad. Jina lets out a sigh as she closes her eyes trying to find this physical-like energy running through her body. Jina pictures the drawing in her mind using that as a starting point to unlock her chakra. Jiraiya leans up against a tree to wait as he keeps writing in his notepad. Sighing he puts away his notepad after 10 minutes. He figures he could check on Naruto before the girl unlocks her chakra. Turning to head to the lake to make sure the brat was still training, he feels a large spike of chakra from behind him. Turning he sees Jina cover in a light blue flame of chakra. Soon the flames started to grow before spiking to the point that it reached the top of the trees he was standing under. Jina slowly opens her eyes and grins. Flashback ends. Hey Jina, you okay? Tenel asks her friend as she helps her up. Jina shakes her head as she is assaulted by memories of the 3 years of blackness. Pulling herself up, Jina closes her eyes trying to sort out all of her memories she now was getting. She saw her and Naruto walking together through different towns and cities. Even hiding together with 2 other people in a bush waiting for the orders to come out and attack. Meeting his family through the holocrons he had. Tenel jumps back as Jina is covered in the light blue flames of chakra once again, only this time they look like a real fire licking at the walls. Closing her eyes again, Jina brings her chakra under control before letting out a sigh. Jina, what was that? I've never seen a force power like that or heard of one like that, Tenel asks, worried someone might have felt that like she did. That is not the force, Tenel, it's something else. I can't explain right now, but I feel a lot better, Jina says with a grin as she stretches out as she feels her chakra pathways once more work over time. I need to do some control exercises. Feels like cage level now if I am guessing right. Need to ask Naruto when I get the chances to. Jina, what in the force name are you talking about? Tenel shouts, seeing her friend get a far off look on her face. Sorry Tenel, it's just I remember everything now, or almost everything. I still have this whole of 3 months missing, Jina says, looking down before looking at her friend, seeing how worried she looks. It'll be fine, don't worry. Tenel could tell through the force Jina was not lying about being fine, but that was only because she thought she was going to be fine. Shaking her head, Tenel looks down the hallway before squaring her shoulders. Let's get moving before more stormtroopers show up. Sounds good to me, Jina says as the both take off once again. Elsewhere on Home 1, Naruto paused in mid-punch, feeling the large chakra spike. Looking at the Imperial officer he was holding by the shirt, Naruto drops him to the ground before kicking his head, lightly knocking him out. Summoning his saber to his hand, Naruto clips it on his belt as he lets out a whistle before walking down the corridor. If someone were to look into his eyes, they would see the eyes of a hunter, and he was on the hunt. Naruto made his way down hallway after hallway, bring down stormtroopers left and right. Few made it out of the way in time. Those that did would later say it looked like a maelstrom destroying everything in its path. Others said it was demons coming to haunt them for the crimes of the Empire. Those did not get out of the way did not know what happened, other than trying to hold off a lone man wielding a red and purple lightsaber. 400 men stood between Naruto and his prize, his target, his prey. Gone was the playful person, now was a person who would destroy the heavens and hell itself to complete his goal. Even with his rage, he still had a code and his honor. Of the 400 men, death only claimed 10 of them. In the years to come, people would back and find out the crimes they had done. But this is not that story. This story starts with Naruto staring at a door with a royal seal of Hapes on it. The knock or not the knock, Naruto mumbles to himself as he slams his fist into the door. Knock it is. 4 people stood on the other side of the door, with a 5th sitting on a throne-like chair behind them. The man on the throne smirks seeing Naruto enter the room and holds up his hand, stopping the other 4 from attacking. I have been expecting you. Naruto looks at him and could feel the evil rolling of him. The smirk reminds him of his former teammate, and that was never a good thing. The man had dark red skin with black tattoos running over his face. His yellow eyes seem shine in the light. The man's dark robes cover him up, making it hard to tell how tall the man really was and if he was armed. The 3 of the people stand all look the same, with black armor, helmets and capes. In their hand each held a lightsaber staff. The red blade all glow with danger in the air. Each had the blade pointed at Naruto, ready to strike. The last person was Admiral Garou, who had in her hand a lightsaber with an orange-yellow blade pointed at the floor. Her smirk told Naruto she was going to be easy to take down. Naruto looked back, the one who spoke, and tilts his head to the side, looking at him closely. I'm sorry, but it seems you have me at a disadvantage. I do not know you, but you seem to know me. I have known of you before your birth. When your ancestors both fought one another. I was shocked when they teamed together to fight me. A Sith and a Jedi working together, not unheard of but very rare to see. It was thanks to them I could not return to that planet. A planet where I am a god, but thanks to Revan, student the sage or whatever, I can no longer returns to your homeworld. Taking the first being to use his chakra and the force. He then turns it into a weapon to defend your planet. In fact, when I was no longer in the area, he moved the planet. For millions of years I have searched for it, but every time I get close it vanishes, the man says in a raspy voice, making Naruto think he was older than he looked. But I got lucky. During the clan wars I came across a young man with very powerful eyes. Well, his brother seemed to see through me. I soon learned that this young man was going to be the one to rule the world. But he would do it with those eyes. I knew then I would need a way to get them. So you are the one behind Madara Madness. It now makes sense why he was not shocked to see my lightsaber when I brought them into the fight, just the color if I think about it. So you gave him the key to immortality, right? Or something to let him complete your plans. Then you would come and steal his eyes, gaining control over the planet. You then would have an army of the only thing Revan said no Jedi could beat, or Sith for that matter. Ninjas. You would win any land battle in minutes. Send a small boarding party onto your enemy ships to take control of them. You would take control of the galaxy within weeks if not months. With cloning you could grow your army and train them. I must say your plan failed. Those cursed eyes are long gone and will never be making a coming back, Naruto says as deep inside him he could feel Itachi's gift waking up to be ready to use if need be. Naruto seals his blades away as he looks around the room, judging its eyes. Your plan was good, but you forgot one thing. The greatest Jedi and Sith Lord to ever walk these worlds. Revan saw this coming, a battle of gods one could say. Two immortals lock in combat never knowing who would win or lose. Revan told me of his vision he had of me. I made my own plans to make sure I could end this before it began. I must say my plan backfire in a way I could not hope for. Because out of the blue lands the one person who could shape the galaxy with her sword or words. On the record she was in a coma from a bad jump and while in a fight. But off the record she was missing for 3 years. Well, I hate what I had to do to her, it was the only plan I could do. For the first time I killed anyone. Seal within Jina is the power to destroy you. I made sure it could only be unlocked one person. Shame you will not be able to unlock it, the man says as he stands up to be the height of 7 feet tall. Removing his cloak he wore black body armor and wields a short saber. Its red blade came to life as the man jumps at Naruto. Naruto leaps back grinning like a fox as he sends a force wave at the group sending them flying. Who said it was me, old man? You never let me finish. The only one who can unlock it is herself. I just hid the key away in a place no one who look for, Naruto says unsealing a new lightsaber. This one handle was longer, but with a quick spin everyone saw it would not hinder him in any form. Not as long as a dual blade saber, so I would not have a weak spot or blind spot. Naruto then unseals a short blade saber to his left hand and spins it in his hand, so when the blade came out, it would be pointing at the ground. Turning the blades on made everyone step back at the colors. In his left hand the short blade came a glowing white color from a black blade. In his right was what made them step back. The blade seems to be made out of lava, it looks like a lava flow. Now we all are ready, let's get wild. Naruto does not let them wait long as he jumps straight for the first shadow guard, making him leap back or try to. Naruto slams into him at such speed it was like being hit by sledgehammer going the speed of sound. The guard starts to gasp for air, not knowing both lungs had been punctured and half his ribs now turned to dust. The other half broken and cracked to the point he could not move, it would be his own armor that killed him. The other two shadow guards leap into action, both swinging at Naruto. Naruto leaps up and barrel rolls under and over the blades. Landing on his feet, Naruto block an overhead strike from the guard behind him with his black blade. Moving his left arm he makes the blade slide down as he spins swinging his lava blade at the guard. Sliding his hand forward Naruto speeds up attack speed of the swipe at the guard. The guard leaps back out of the blade's way only for the blade to grow longer. What the guard did not see was Naruto sliding his hand back down the hilt to the end. This made it look like the blade could grow. The guard screams out as the blade cuts into his helmet and across his face blinding him. Keeping on the attack Naruto slams the butt cap into the helm of the guard knocking him out. The old man starts to laugh, bravo, I must say I did not think you would be able to take them down so quickly. The last of the shadow guard in less than a few minutes. But it does not matter as now you face true Sith Lords. Admiral Garrowen looks at the Sith Lord who nods back as she charges in only to find the body of the last shadow guard in her way. Cutting throws him, Admiral Garrowen tries to ram Naruto through, only to find he blade blocked by a violet color blade. Naruto turns to see Jina standing there looking very pissed off. Naruto starts to grin even more seeing his secret weapon just showed up. You will fight me, Garrowen, I am going to make sure you stay down this frackin' time, Jina growls at her as she pushes Admiral Garrowen back with just her strength alone. Admiral Garrowen just grins like it was her birthday, wedding day, and favorite child birthday all roll into one. Please Olo, you do not know how much stronger I am now. My Lord Negleth as me made me more powerful than you can ever imagine. Now let me show you the true power of the dark side. Beside I cannot let the key be unlocked and have you stop Lord Negleth. Jina is caught off guard by this, wondering what she meant. Shaking her head Jina feels a hand being placed on her right shoulder. Turning she see Naruto smiling at her, sorry for this, hope you can forgive me. Jina does not know what he means until she is spun around facing him and Naruto pulls her into a kiss. Jina eyes go wide for a minute before slowly closing. Jina turns off her blade as she wraps her arms around Naruto's neck as the last of her memories fill in. Flashback. So I am just a pawn in your game, Jina shouts at Naruto as they both stand in training ground 44 Aka, the Forest of Death. Naruto looks hurt knowing she was right. You were, but I changed my mind. At first I thought I could give you the power and then use as something to control you, but now, Naruto say, not able to look at her face from the shame and pain. So those dates we went on. Just something to use to control me even more, Jina yells slapping him. The first one, I need to know if I could control you. But afterwards it changed, I knew I could not control you like I hoped to. I would have to destroy what made you, you. And that what I need to stop him, Naruto say with his eyes still locked to the ground. I knew I need to find another way to stop him without destroy you. That scroll was not meant to see the light of day. Naruto looks up at her, tears running down his cheeks. In the 3 years Jina knew Naruto he only cried 2 different times. The first at the funeral of the person he looked up to as a grandfather and a role model, the other time was when he found out about his parents and how they died sealing the Kyuubi into him. He never showed his emotions to other unless he trust them. Looking into his eyes, Jina could see the hurt, sadness, and the anger he was feeling for betraying her like this. Jina turns to leave, not wanting to be around him anymore. Her own feeling and emotions seem to be out of control. Jina takes 2 steps when she feels a hand on her shoulder. Turning, she finds Naruto kissing her for the first time. Jina's eyes go wide before slowly closing, and like she would do once more in her future, she wraps her arms around his neck. Naruto wraps his arms around her lower back, holding her close. Both remain like this for a minute before the need of air became known to them. Breaking, Naruto kept her close as they both panted for air. "Please stay, I do not want to lose you. I am sorry, I thought I did not have a choice. I will find another way, just do not leave," Naruto says as the tears keep running down his cheeks. Jina did not need the force to tell he was being honest. Resting her head on his left shoulder, Jina whispers softly, "I will stay for a little bit longer for you, Naruto-kun, just for you. I will find a way that does not need to give you power or need to destroy anyone," Naruto promises to her. "Dang it, nothing is working," Naruto shouts in anger as he fails again on coming up with a way. Jina watches from the doorway, makes herself known with a simple giggle. Naruto turns to see her and looks down. He had 3 more months before she had no choice but to leave and still not found a way out of the immortal battle. "Naruto, the only way for you to win this battle is for you to give me some sort of power against my will, right?" Jina asks, not adding "kun" to make sure Naruto would listen to her. Getting a nod, she give him her idea. "What if I took the power willing? Would you need to destroy a village to give it to me?" Naruto looks at her for a good long hard minute, blinking at the end. He then starts to grin as he runs up to Jina and hugs her. "It would work, but I may need to kill someone still and you would be stuck in a coma for 3 months. But it would work. I can't believe you would be willing to do it, I never thought you would. Is that why you never ask?" Jina asks as she leans against her official not so official boyfriend. "That, and I thought you would kill me," Naruto says, thinking of way to lose the death part of his plan. "I see, but that's not why I am here. Anko-san wants our help on a high-rank mission," Jina says as she tells Naruto about the mission. "We could use the mission for the sacrifices. I think Anko would not mind if we did it there," Naruto said, knowing his adopted older sister would help them out. Jina nods her head. "So where are you going to place the Kigaki?" Anko asks them as Naruto finish up the seal that Jina was sitting in. "Not sure. Jina is going to place it somewhere on her body. The only way for her to unlock it is for me to unlock her last memory, this one," Naruto answers as he finished the last part of the seal. Looking at Jina, who had seals drawn all over her body. She was now in a pair of boxers with wrappings covering her chest. Naruto had Anko draw the seals that would be under the shirt on for him after showing what they look like and where they went. Jina already knew where she would place the key, but she also wanted to be the one to place the memory seal. "Jina, I'm you ready?" Naruto asks as he gets ready to activate the seal. "Just hurry up, okay, so I can fall into a coma or something, Whiskers," Jina yells back, not wanting to sit on the cold ground in her underwear any longer than she need to. Anko looks at the two, wondering what happened to make Jina call him Whiskers. "Okay, any place you want the memory seal. And Anko, I am not going to place it there. I need to be able to remove it in battle," Naruto says, cutting of Anko before she could speak her mind. "Naruto, come here quickly," Jina calls out, knowing where she wanted it. Once Naruto got over to her, she whispers it to him, making him blush thinking about that. Nodding his head and giving her a quick pick on the lips, Naruto hurries back out of the seal. "Okay, let's do this," Naruto says as he starts to run through the long set of hand seals Anko had ever seen. With each seal, Naruto pick up speed, knowing he could not miss a single seal or it would kill them all. Getting to the last seal, Naruto cries out the jutsu, Seimei no Fumetsu no Akuma no Chikara no SH plus Ru. Immortal Demon 4 Seal of Life. The seal array glow purple then blue as the seals on Jina glow yellow then green. Soon the seals start to move across her body before stopping over her heart. Once the seal finish moving and glowing, Naruto runs over to her, grabbing Jina before she could fall over. Looking her over, Naruto finds a small pulse and smiles. "It worked, Jina, at work," Naruto whispers to her as he holds her close, resting her head on his chest. "I know," Jina says weakly, making Naruto smile even more. Jina smiles at him before closing her eyes, falling into the coma. Flashback ends. Jina feels Naruto wrap his arms around her, pulling her close like their first kiss they shared. Off to the side, both Sith Lord and wannabe watch with jaws on the floor, not sure what was going on. Naruto breaks the kiss and smiles down at Jina and says 2 words, "Welcome back." Jina smiles as she unlocks the key in her heart. The seals slowly begin to glow all over her body as she feels her body be filled by the force and the chakra that was sealed into the seal. The seals on her skin glow green as she turns, keeping Naruto arms around her to look at Admiral Garo and with a smirk, Naruto-kun, can I please deal with her? Last time I saw her, I though she died and would not need to worry about her harming anyone else. Be my guess, I will deal with the Sith Lord want to be over there. After we are done here we need to talk about the seal, Naruto says, kissing the top of her head, softly remembering how much he missed the feeling of her warm and body next to him like this. Okay, as long as you make it quick, otherwise I may need to take away all that raiment you brought with you, Jina says, making Naruto gulp in fear. Letting Jina go with one last quick kiss to the top of her head, Naruto moved to deal with the Sith Lord. Now the key to taking him down was unleashes. Negleth could not understand what happened. All he saw and felt was a major power boost for Jina. But even that would not help in the fight unless the seal was meant to do something else. Admiral Garoan was also wondering about it, so you just got strong and more chakra than before. It will not help you solo. Admiral Garoan, you do not know how the seal even works. Right now Naruto-kun and Negleth are both on even ground, but now the seals are activated he can call on my powers as I can call onto his. You know of force bonds, how two people can feel each other through time and space. Some get so strong when one uses a force power to boost themselves the other feels it as well. This works the same way, only not only do we get the powers. I can call on Naruto-kun chakra pools if I need to and life energy. Not that I would need it to beat an old crow like you. But what more is Naruto-kun can call on my chakra pools if need be. While I am a master of the force, Naruto-kun is a master of chakra. It would take 3000 cage level ninjas to even get close to match his reserves. But what truly makes this seal a dangers is now your lord must fight two immortals, not one. Admiral Garoan's eyes grow large as she begins to shake in fear, hearing she was facing down an immortal GD. She knew it was over for her, even if it was a bluff. Their power level were too different. Before they stood on even ground, but now Jina would overpower her within minutes. Turning of her lightsaber, she throws it away and raises her hands. Jina just grins seeing Admiral Garoan stand down without a fight. Walking over to her, Jina knocks her out with a quick hit to the jaw. Rolling her shoulders, Jina stretch out quickly, getting used to the new power that was flowing through her. Turning, she sees Naruto already in battle with Negleth. Naruto could feel the extra chakra from Jina already flowing into him through the seal. He then felt Jina start using a few force powers to help him out. As his speed increased, Naruto begins to leave openings. Negleth sees them and starts attacking at them. Naruto soon flips backwards over a desk of some kind. Using the black blade, Naruto blocks another strike for his head. Pushing Negleth off, Naruto throws a quick look at Jina, who nods back, leaping into the battle. Even if it had been over 20 years since they worked last, they both still work as one. Negleth soon found why Naruto had the openings. Jina was to cover them with her form. One would defend the other, then they attack. Negleth force pushes Jina away, trying to strike at Naruto when he was open, only for Naruto cancel out his push with one of his own. Both sides leap back to make their next plan. Negleth looks around the room quickly before forming a plan as Naruto and Jina both keep an eye on him, waiting for the next bout to begin. Negleth could not feel the force being used to talk between them, and no words were being spoken. Then he notes the fingers moving quickly. If not for his training and years of being alive, he would not even make out the signs. But shock him was they keep touching one another's hand using touch and drawing out the plan. You two must have trained for years to work like this. I never seen a pair other than Revan and Xana. Only reason they did so well against me is because they fought against one another for so long they knew each other's moves, Negleth speaks, hoping to keep them off guard so he could kill them both. Naruto starts to grin hearing that. Thanks for telling us something we already know. This is where we learn how to work together, Jina answers for them. Naruto crack his neck before nodding to Jina, who leaps at Negleth, forcing him to block her attack. Naruto follows in after her, both taking turns to attack when Negleth was focused on the other. Negleth, if had time, would admire the deadly dance the two seemed to have. It also helped they both called their teamwork style dances. This once was dance 2 usually used for one opponent. Out of the 6 dances, this one was used the most when they spar against someone or we are fighting. Dance 1 was a defensive style usually used when they need to cover someone. Dance 3 was when they face more than 4 opponents at once. Dance 4 was a very risky one, for it required Naruto to unseal all his sabers, for they would be throwing them between themselves, cutting down their enemies. Dance 5 was another defensive style used for when so outnumbered they could not go on the offense and risk getting split apart. The last dance they called Dance 0 for one reason: no one came out of it alive if they saw it. It was so deadly they had banned it from ever being used. Only once did they ever get close needing to use it. Negleth smirks as he pulls out 2 more sabers and throws them into the air, making them float by use of the force. Then with a flick of the wrist they turn on and begin to attack as if a ghost was controlling them. Naruto and Jina soon changed to Dance 1, for it was still a good style, with a few offensive attacks thrown in, unlike Dance 5. Negleth picks up the Admiral's saber and adds it to the ones floating in the air. Naruto taps his foot quickly. Need a new plan. Agreed. We do not have room for Dance 4. 0. You crazy, Tsunade-sensei and Jiraiya-sensei both outlawed it when they saw it. We destroy their clones even when we told them to go all out. beside it feels too much like a Sith move. The Force is the Force, it's how you use it, remember. Beside, as long as you do not use it for your own gain, it is not dark, really more like grey. I hate you and your crazy logic. We do it only if you do something for me. Sure, what is it? 1. I want to meet your daughters when this is over. Both of them. Next, you owe me a spare. 3rd, I want another kiss like we had. And lastly, I want to know everything that happened since I left. Deal. Besides, we need to talk anyways when this is over about the seal. Whiskers. After, I promise. Fine. On 3 we do 0. 3, 2, 1, 0, 0. Both shout together as Naruto blocks with Jina rolling over his back, throwing her saber at Negleth, forcing him to jump back. Naruto charges forward, going in all-out attack on him with his lava saber as he had throw the black one to Jina. Jina leaps into the air to do a double heel drop with the black saber in between her feet. Negleth rolls to the side only to get kicked and goes sliding a feet backwards. Ducking under the lava blade, Negleth is forced to block Naruto, now wielding Jina's saber. He was now having a hard time keeping track of them even with the force and the other 3 sabers in the air he was using. Jina comes in from the side, making Negleth change targets as Naruto leaps back, taking out a floating saber with him. Negleth tries to find an opening in the waves of heavy quick blows that seem to rain down from Jina. Using force lightning to make Jina jump back, Negleth goes on the attack only for once more duck under the purple blade and get knee in the face by Naruto right knee. Using both elbows, Naruto slams them into the back plate, cracking it and sending Negleth to the floor. Jina uses a force pull to grab Naruto and get him away from the last 2 sabers in the air. Using the pull, Naruto grabs his lava saber and leaps off the wall. Negleth would like to fix his broken nose but is forced to fight Jina once more as blood gushes from his nose. Naruto does a slide kick into Negleth, making him jump back as Naruto leaps to his feet, now being the attacker. Negleth winces as Naruto scores a light blow to his left arm. Taking a quick look, Negleth sees he could still use it. Raising it, he rains down Sith lighting all over the place in a force storm. Both Jina and Naruto leap back, blocking the lighting before attacking once more when Negleth stops his attack. Damn you two. Do either of you stop to breath? Negleth curses at them, seeing them both press the attack once more, never letting up. Naruto gives him a foxy grin before scoring 2 more hits to both legs as Jina scores a hit on the right arm. Negleth could feel the pain adding up to the point he would need to heal. But with the 2 keep attacking him with their strongest and most deadly forms and moves, he did not have time to. Ducking again, Negleth feels his timing on move and dodges start to slow down and get sloppy. Rolling to the side, Negleth loses sight of Naruto, only to feel burning hot pain in his left leg as Naruto removes it right at the hip, making it so he could not get prosthetic limb to replace it. Jina then moves and takes his left arm at shoulder and a little in, making it so again no prosthetic limbs could be placed. With 2 more quick strikes, they remove the last 2 limbs from Negleth as the seals on Jina slowly stop glowing before withdrawing back into the key. I cannot lose, I am a god and immortal lord. I am unable to lose, Negleth shouts, trying to kill them with the force only for a tag to be placed on his forehead, making it so he could no longer feel the force. Jina rolls him over, then not so nicely as Naruto draws a seal into the back of Negleth's neck, making it so he could no longer use the force for anything or have any control over it. There, that should hold him until your GD council decides what to do with him. And what is this about your uncle being exiled for something your brother did? Naruto asks Jina, who looks away, not wanting to talk about it still. You can tell me when you are ready. Thanks, let's go see how Tenel is doing. She should have retaken the bridge by now, Jina says as she walks over Negleth, stepping on his spin, cracking it. Taking a deep breath, she forgot how much she toed the line with the dark side when she was on Naruto's home planet. The call was great, but at the same time she could see its lies that it was telling. Beside the moth we found said your girls would be there. Okay, really, what is a moth? Sounds like moth, so do they like flying into campfires or something? Naruto asks, scratching the back of his head shyly. Jina just shakes her head and laughs before leading him out of the room and into a left. On the right up, she gave him the rundown what a moth is. They are in charge of sectors of space in the Empire or Imperial space. Whatever you do, never trust one, they will stab you in the back if they believe it would help them gain more power and wealth. All that I have seen and met in one form or another have been fat and dirty, Jina tells him as Naruto leans against the back panel with his eyes closed, arms crossed, trying to keep his breathing under control. Jina looks at him and starts to giggle. I can't believe it. Naruto, you are claustrophobic. I am not, I do not like elevators, okay. Last time I was in one I was attacked. No ninja likes them, no place to run or hide. Too many ways for it to turn into a tomb, Naruto says, cracking one eye open to look at Jina, who just kept on grinning. Air ducks into the locker room for the hot springs. You told me to plant some itching powder in Sakura and Ino locker, so when it opens they got cover in it. Or when we had to break into, what base was it again? Oh yay, one of the snake's bases. That makes no sense. You are hiding in a place that you truly have no room to move in other than forwards or backwards. If they want to they just shoot a fireball down both ends. Sucks out all the air in a heartbeat, that has too many things that could go bad, Jina counters as the left door opens. Jina turns to see the two guards that her and Tenel ran into before waiting with weapons out and ready. Seeing Jina they both lower their weapons and nod their head. Didi Solo Her Majesty is waiting for you on the bridge, the first one says before looking at Naruto who had not moved and still had an eye crack open. The male will need to stay here. Jina turns to see Naruto shift a little telling her he needed to get out or something was going to happen, may he wait here in the hallway. The second speaks up this time, we will allow it only this time, only because he aided you in freeing Her Majesty from the other males. Naruto opens his eyes all the way and looks at Jina who just shrugs at him. Naruto nods and walks out of the lift and into the hallway. Both guards keep their weapons at the ready in case Naruto would try to defy them. Once in the hallway Naruto goes and sits down in the locust position. Jina looks at him once before heading to the bridge, hoping to get her friend to let Naruto enter the bridge. Walking past a few more guards who nods at her Jina finally arrives at the bridge only for her to be stopped by another guard wanting all her weapons. Jina begins to hand them over stopping when she feels the kunai Naruto slip onto her. Making sure it was still hidden Jina walks and not surprised that the scanner did not pick it up. The metal was not known in Republic or Imperial space. The bridge was a wreck blaster burn covered the floor, walls and ceiling. Blown out computer and workstation were being replaced at a quick pace by both droids and the royal guards. 10 of the royal guards stood up to the side watching over 10 stormtroopers and a handful of kids. Looking at them they all had the same look, I die for the empire. One girl stood holding a Twi'lek with blue skin glaring at the guards trying to get them to attack so she could get a weapon. The girl turns her head as soon as Jina enters before looking back at the guards. Jina smiles to herself seeing the eyes on the girl. Knowing she found them she walks over to Tenel, so we have taken out the Sith Lord, have them off, and retaken the bridge. I thought this was going to be a lousy day when I got up. Tenel shakes her head at Jina humor before looking at her then at the kids again, once we finish repairing the bridge we will head to Hapes. Once there I will contact the GD Council telling them you are safe. Also say the kidnapper was killed in the crossfire. Naruto is not in any database, new or old. Jina spots the Twi'lek head turn to look at them when Naruto name was brought up, he is a shinobi. He would not be doing his job if he was in very database out there. Besides he is the only one of his people able to use a hyperdrive. Or did until from what it sounds like was destroyed by the Moff fell. Jina watches both girls closely wondering if she should use any more words to get them to look. Tenel frowns at this before looking at the two girls Jina is looking at, you know them. Not personally, but they are Naruto's kids, Jina says before walking over to them and kneels to the oldest eye level. Are you Anko and Mission Uzumaki? Why do you want to know lady? Anko asks wondering why she was speaking her native tongue unlike everyone else who could not speak it. I am an old friend of Naruto, Jina says keeping her face straight. Prove it, Anko demands. Naruto has 5 lightsabers from his ancestors and 2 he made himself, both black and lava in color. The 5 from his family are red, purple, orange, blue and golden orange. At the time I left he was still a genin able to take on most jonin. Jina says with a soft smile. Ujutsu, Anko demands still not fully trusting her. It has been a while since I have done a jutsu, but I think I can pull of a chakra scalpel still, Jina says as she channels her chakra into her hands as it glows green for a minute. Anko watching closely could see she was out of practice and was having a hard time keep control. Nodding her head Anko whispers something to Mission who eyes get big and start talking at a fast rate, making Jina laugh. Getting up Jina walks back over to Tenel who was frowning. How do you know how to speak their lang? Tenel asks watching the two closely still not sure if she could trust the two kids. It was kind force into my mind. Not sure when but all I know is I woke up and understood them as if they were speaking slandered or droid. Anyways if it's okay with you I would like to take them to see their dad, Jina says with a small bow of the head to Tenel. Tenel eyes linger on Anko before closing them to hold back the emotions running through her. She was going to need to make a call to speak with her lover's parents about them coming and visiting. You can take them. Beside after what he has done I figure I should not be in his way to find his children. But you need to tell me everything Jina before you head back to the temple. That means they come and get you. Thus do not forget to call them Tenel, Jina says walking back over to Anko and Mission. Tenel nods to the guard as Jina takes Anko and Mission's hands. Tenel looks out the viewport wondering how her daughter was. Shaking her head she walks over to help with the repairs. She planned on giving Jina a week before making the call, saying she was needed to help with a small problem. Naruto could feel the eyes of the two guards on him even as he remained still. He had done nothing to make them attack, but he could still feel a nervousness with him being there. Making sure all his weapons were sealed away or handed over Naruto just relaxed the best he could. Using the force and sensing chakra he picks up 3 large chakra sources moving towards him. Remaining still he only open his eye when he hears daddy be yelled out looking he smiles, seeing both his daughters with Jina. Both let go of Jina hands as they run and tackle Naruto in a hug crying. Naruto cries with a smile with joy seeing his daughters both safe and unharmed. It had been a few days since the battle for Starhome. Naruto been reading datapad after datapad for marriage request from different women throughout the Hapes consortium. Half of them were either way older than him or way too young for him. He even go request from mothers for their 12-year-old daughters, making him want to just kidnap the kid if all they were was peace in a game of chess to their parents. He still could not figure out how everyone knew about him. Closing the last datapad, Naruto lays down on the bed in the guest quarters of the royal palaces on Hapes. While a lot of the higher-ups wanted to kill him for being male and an outsider, Tenno made it clear he would not be harm or any harm to him or his children would be attack on her. Looking over to the door to his room, he could see both Anko and Mission watching a vid of some kind. Getting up, Naruto walks out to see them watching the only movie he was in back home. He still could not believe he got caught into it. Shaking his head, Naruto heads to the kitchen area to grab something to eat. Grabbing a fruit of some kind, Naruto takes a bite watching his daughters for a minute as he eats. Finishing off the fruit, Naruto walks over to Mission and picks her up before sitting down with placing her on his lap. Naruto sat with them watching the last few minutes of the movie laughing at his lines and how unlike him they seem. Once the movie was over, Naruto had them go get ready for the day. Both whined lightly about it but agreed in the end. Naruto had just got out of the shower or refresher when the door chimes. Walking at a brisk pace into his room, Naruto starts trying to find some pants and a shirt. Only to hear Mission answer the door. Jina was surprised to see Mission answer the door in blank pants and an orange shirt with a red swirl on her left shoulder. Mission herself had on hand on the button to open and close the door, the other was holding onto a stuffed brown toad. Seeing who it was, Mission takes her hand off the button and looks up at her before yelling something to Anko a little too quickly for Jina to pick up. Anko walks over in a long tan skirt and a black shirt with a tan trench coat over it. Her hair was cut back stopping above her neck. "Hi Anko-chan, is Naruto here or is he trying to find a place to hide?" Jina asks with a small grin. "Be over there," Mission points to Naruto's room, making Jina laugh as she walks over thanking them. Naruto finally gets a shirt on as the door opens with Jina smiling at him. "I guess I am early then," Jina says as she shakes her head at all of the data pads on the floor. "How many did you get through last night?" "All of them. I just finished an hour ago, half of them are too old or young for me. A few I just want to kidnap the kid so they do not need to deal with their parents anymore. The rest are just shallow. Anyways, why are you here?" "I thought we are meeting tomorrow after I found a ship," Naruto explains to her. They walk back to the entryway to put their shoes on or back on. "Tenel got the day off and willing to take the girls so we can talk by ourselves. She wants to teach them a few things and show them around. Beside, I figure there are a few things you do not want them knowing about yet," Jina says as Naruto helps put on Mission's shoes as Anko stands there looking at Jina as if judging her. "I guess that could work. They do know standard but like with me they fake it not knowing how to speak it," Naruto says as he picks up Mission, who still had her stuffed toad in her left hand. Her right hand was hooked around Naruto's neck so not to fall. Anko grins seeing them both ready and runs to the lift. Jina shakes her head. Putting on a coat she brought with her over her tan tank top, Jina falls into step with Naruto. What does Tenel plan on to do? Something about a movie, shopping and maybe look at a few starships with them. She was thinking of getting one herself for personal getaway. So she would be picking something along the same lines as you would. So they would have some insight, Jina says as they get to the lift. "What we will be doing, oh great GD," Naruto says with sarcasm running wild in his voice. "We are going to a nice cafe I know here. And you will be paying. You still owe me a lot for all the pranks you pulled on me turning the training trip we went on and for letting Iro-san and for put me in one of his books," Jina says as Naruto closes his eyes as they ride down to the main floor. Jina wanted to tease Naruto about be scared of riding in a lift only to see Anko shifting from on foot to another looking around a lot. Filing what she saw way for the talk, Jina just waits for the lift to stop and open up. After 2 stop and picking up 3 more people making Jina pick up Anko for room to finally reach the ground floor. The 3 people walk off to another part of the building most likely to their private car. Jina leads them down to the front steps to see what would be a stretch coach to carry royalty. With about 20 armored cars in front and 20 more to the back. Standing by the stretch coach was Tenel and 2 of her guards. The rest of her guards were spread out making sure no one could get close to her. Naruto looked around spotting 2 good hiding spots and holes in the screen. Once they were in front of Tenel, Naruto gives her a small bow to help keep the peace between him and the guards. He piss off with Summer his remarks and nicknames. Tenel returns the bow before smiling at the 2. "As Jina told you about," Tenel starts before Naruto just nods his head. "Yay, but I need to know where and what you plan on doing," Naruto says wanting to make sure his daughters were both safe. "I can understand that. There is a mall I plan on taking them to. Mall is usually used by the upper class here, so security is top of the line. My personal guards will be there as well. If it makes you feel better I can close them all down, so it's just me and the girls. After that I was going to take them to lunch and a movie. If they have any energy left maybe some more shopping, Tenel tells him, making Naruto wonder if Tenel was really a woman in her late 20s or early 30s, queen or a teenage princess. Okay, but I am giving you and Anko one of my kunai in case things get out of hand. And you do not need to close them all down, Naruto says, pulling out one of his tri-blade kunai made to glide through the air. If things get out of hand I do not care. If you think you and your guards can handle it, throw it and I will come. Tenel takes it, weighing it in her hand, wondering what it was made out of. Shaking her head to clear that thought she nods to Naruto, okay, but we can handle most thing that come after us. I spotted 2 hiding places and holes in your screen your guards had set up that could be used to get in. Well, I believe you can handle a lot of problems. Anko and me are both trained to look underneath the underneath, Naruto says with a smile, hoping Tenel understood he was just trying to point out what he has seen so far. Putting Mission down he tells her to be good and stay with Tenel at all times. Stand back. To Naruto reaches to pull out some money only for Tenel stop him. On me, you did help free me and my people. This does not cover what you have done for me and my people. So if you need any help just call, Tenel says, bowing to Naruto, this time making the guards uneasy. Naruto just scratches the back of his head and grins. I was just looking for my daughters. Naruto starts only for Jina start dragging him away with a wave. Tenel sweat drops at this as Anko mumbles about dumb fathers. Mission looks up at Tenel before tugging on her dress, making her look down and smile. Croaky hungry, Mission says, holding up her stuffed toad. Tenel just smiles, figuring Mission was the one that was hungry. Okay, we can get something for him to eat. What does Croaky like? Tenel asks, wondering what the girls like. Ice cream, Mission shouts, making the guards frown at her. Anko growls at the guards, making them back up, hearing the growl. Tenel looks at Anko before filing it as protective older sister. Okay, ice cream it is. With Jina and Naruto. Jina had dragged Naruto over to a red speeder before throwing Naruto in and getting behind the wheel. I thought I beat that stupidity out of you the last few months we were together. You did, Jina. I put it up as a mask when I felt out of control. Or when I think a good prank up, Naruto says as he opens the window. Jina just shakes her head as she pulls out of the parking area into the flow of other hover car speeders. Okay, start talking. I figure you being scared of being elevators is just what you call weird twitches. But Anko also has the same look when she got into it, Jina demands as she watches Naruto out of the corner of her eye. Naruto just look outside, not saying anything. Jina could see the hurt from the way his body was and the look she was seeing in the side mirrors. I see, I am sorry, Jina says as she keeps her eyes open for trouble in the sky lanes. Naruto just nods his head as he watches the buildings fly by. Letting out a sigh, Naruto turns to look at Jina. We were in the Rain Village. It was supposed to be a simple meet and greet meeting. After their last leader was killed in battle, the new one had still some hard feeling for Konoha. But he was willing to meet to talk about a peace deal and trading rights. I had sent a team to make sure everything was ready for me when I got there. Hinata came with me as we plan on having a family vacation afterwards. We got into the elevator about halfway to the top at stop. It turns out one of my men still held a grudge against me. He placed paper bombs up the shaft. His plan was to kill me and blame the Rain Village for it. It would have worked if Hinata had not seen the bombs. I broke the bottom for use to slide down the wires. We made it 2 floors when the bombs went off. Jina could feel Naruto having a hard time talking with what was to come. Nodding her head, Jina uses the force to drive as she holds Naruto's hand. It's fine, I can figure out what happened. She uses rotation to stop the blast but could not grab onto anything. I am sorry, Naruto. Naruto holds back the tears that we are ready to break free as he nods his head. Closing his eyes, Naruto feels Jina squeeze his hand gently, telling him it was going to be okay. Naruto does not say anything else for the rest of the ride. Jina pulls the speeder up to a small cafe from the looks of it. Letting out the 2 take a seat in the back so one of them could see everything going on in the cafe. Naruto eyes move around the cafe, taking in the sights and holo pictures. He could smell different drinks being made. A droid rolls up to them. Greetings, welcome to Solar Rider Cafe. I am server droid SB-15. May I take your order? SB-15 asks in a female-sounding voice. Black eye ports move from between the 2. It 4 hands all ready to take down the order. Jina looks over the menu on the table view screen before ordering. I would like some caf with blue milk. Jina looks at Naruto as he reads of everything before grinning at one of the drinks. I will have the Tatooine cac bean tea. If that is all, I will begin your order, SB-15 say before wheeling away to fill their orders. Jina watches as Naruto presses a few buttons on the table screen as he plugs in a very old-looking data pad in. The screen then changes into a world view of Naruto's home planet. Naruto then zooms in on the 5 elementals countries. I figure I should start with what happened after I place you in the coma, Naruto says as he zooms in a small country smash in between all of the other countries. Shortly after I place you in the coma. We place you in your ship with everything your droid needed to get you to the closest medical help. With the help of T3 and HK, I was able to place a virus that would wipe the memory of your droid only about my home planet and how to find it. I left a note with you telling whoever found you to help you. I hope they did. Yeah, they did. I asked Tenel about it. Turn out R2 took me to the where I was planning on going to when I found you, Jina says with a smile as she looks at the village cover in rain. So why are you showing me this village? Because this is where our sensei died fighting one of his other students. This happened a month after you left. I then went to go train with the toads in the art of Sage Jutsu, Naruto, then zoomed to where Konoha should have been. Near the end of my training Pain attack and destroy the village. I arrive after this happen. I then enter into combat with him. He was able to pin me at one point, it was at this point Hinata confess her feels about me. Pain nearly killed her. I went straight into 5. The damn furball almost got out unless the 4th did not show up stopping him. Thanks to him resetting the seal I was able to regain control. After regaining control I destroy the last body or puppet Pain uses before find him in person. After talking with him and showing him how he was wrong, Pain gave up his life to bring everyone back who had died in his attack. Shortly after that Danzo became acting Hokage and was summoned to a cage meeting. A man calling himself Madara had decided to show his face and declare war on us starting the 4th Great War. I got sent off to train in controlling the furball. The war lasted only a few weeks. It was weird to see Itachi and have him fighting alongside us to take down the enemy. Madara was sealed away into a jar, then said jar was sealed into the bottom of a lake that was later barred by 6 mountains. Each village now has 4 Anbu units guarding the place. After the war things changed slowly. A lot of the smaller villages started making treaties with each other in fear of the big 5 coming after them. It took the cage a year to get them to settle down. We still had a lot of border wars. But most in within a day with no loses. I left shortly after I named my successor. Sounds like everyone's still one edge there, Jina says as their orders comes and is delivered. Naruto takes a deep breath of his tea and shrugs at Jina's statement. It will take some time for it to settle down to the point no one is fighting anymore, but we are close, Naruto says as he tries the tea and makes a face at the flavor. What is this stuff? I do not like it much myself, but a few of the GD do. That tea house we went to in what country was it? Jina starts trying to remember it. The one where we ran into Ankoad, Naruto asks trying his tea again. No, the one where Jiraiya ran off with that girl and we had to drag him out of fight, Jina says trying to remember the country's name. That was in Fang country and we ran into Princess Koyuki Kazuhana, Naruto says smiling remembering that. Yeah, she had to teach you manners and how to make tea. Still say her tea was way better than yours, Jina says as she takes a sip of her drink. That's unfair, I just started to learn to make tea. She had been making it for a few years. Beside I know a few people who would disagree with you, Naruto says with a grin taking another sip of his tea. We will see, anyways you got your dream, the 6th Hokage. What was your first order you gave out? Jina asked truly wondering what he did. Made Anko a full Jonin in charge of the Anbu forces. Kakashi become in charge of village security, with Rin running the hospitable. Ino took over T&I after her dad retired, damn scary at times. Bach-an retired, but because of a few things I made her an advisor until I hand the hat off. At that time she started a whole new gambling debt. Sakura left the ninja force with Kiba taking care of her, the last part of the war really shook her up. I do not think she can truly forgive herself. She had a chance to remove Sasuke from play, only to let him go still thinking he could be saved. As thanks he went and made her the last of her family. She kind of fell in on herself. Both Ino and her father had a hard time healing the damage. You remember how she had built up this image of Prince Charming. With it all destroyed and me stuck out in the field, she only had a few people to help support her. Ino said it was like her own mind turn on itself, Naruto says looking at the tea in his cup. How did Kiba end up taking care of her? Jina asks taking a sip of tea. Naruto take a quick gulp of the tea before going on. He was the one that found her. She vanishes into the forest of death in a daze. Only reason she went there was that's when teams started to change. Kiba was doing a time run when he found her just walking through the forest talking to herself as if she was back in the Chunin exam again for the first time. She still knew who people were but was unable to realize how much time had passed. Kiba figure she was a shock-like state, so stay with her to keep her safe. Only problem she would come out of her daze at times screaming and crying. He was the first to find out about her family. She told him everything hoping she could get him to kill her. When he didn't he became her lifeline. In fact Kiba had to be pulled back into a village post just so Sakura remained calm. If he was gone for longer than a day it was like she lost all control attacking everyone to find him. Kiba the playboy of your year. Mr. Party who hates being stuck in one place for too long is a wet nurse so to speak, Jina says laughing, even when she knows she should not be. Naruto smiles back with a nod knowing it was funny. Yay. When he got his own apartment he had her move in. It took some years, but her mind was mostly fixing when I left. She can do most household tasks, but anything that has to do with any kind of jutsu she falls in on herself. Kiba somehow put up with it. Even with her mind not all there he fell in love with her and both have two twins running around. Not sure if Kiba will let them join the ninja force because of Sakura. True, that shock of losing another loved one would not be good on any person, more so on a person who lost someone already. And from what it sounded like it happened close to one other, Jina says, knowing the pain all too well. And if she lost her kids I would not want to even think about it. And what about you? Did you stop Sasuke and make him see the light, or did you? Valley of the End all over again. Only this time I did not hold back, Naruto growls, not wanting to remember how far Sasuke fallen into the darkness. He had even brought up Sakura parents and family. He had to be put down at that point, and I got Sakura okay to bring him back in the body bag. I plan on bringing him back in. How did you get Sakura to say yes to that? Jina asks, eyes widen at how dark Naruto sounded. I talked to her during one of the few times when she was not turning in on herself. Even then I was not sure if she was truly there or knew what I was asking. I still do not know if she understood what I asked. But she bring him back any way I could. I then left to see Bachan about taking on a mission to taking him down for good. 14 stood in front of a group of 6. The 6 people, we were the leaders of the alliance that was formed to stop a madman and his war. They came with one thing on their mind: take down a dangerous ninja that had been causing problems for too long. How do you plan on drawing him out? One of the cages asks. The leader of the group spoke up. Simple, team wants to prove he is the strongest and want to get revenge on Konoha. He will come if I show up to the Valley of the End. Even if I have backup, Sasuke cannot let something like this pass, Naruto say, keeping a level face, not wanting to give anything away. They all had too much riding on this plan for it to not get it okay by the cages. Draw out and remove Sasuke Uchiha from the face of the galaxy. He already talks to his last teammate about it, hoping he did it one of the times she was see me there. Naruto and his 3 teammates he had pick watch for any sign this mission would get turned down or get the okay. 2 of the cages seemed to be ready to give it the okay, one already made up his mind to say no. The last 3 were deep in thought. And if Sasuke beats you? They would get another tail beast, one of the cages states. I am willing to give up my life. I have placed 2 gravity seals and explosive seal on my body. The seals will go off at the first sign of anyone trying to remove the Kyuubi. The explosion will destroy everything in 1 square mile of me, Naruto says, planning on not using those seals. How will you get him to come still? The same cage asked. I am the bait. You are to leak. I am going on a training trip with a small team as an escort. Team will not be able to stop himself from coming, Naruto said. We have already set seals up for the trap and just need your okay. Tsunade lets out a sigh before speaking, let them go. Even if we say no they will still go. Naruto, you can use everything in your power to take him down. Tsunade, or you're insane, we barely save him the first time he pulled a stunt like this, another cage shout. If you do not okay it, I will make it a village mission and not need to deal with this group, Tsunade said, backing the other cages into a wall. Naruto, do you believe you can stop Sasuke Uchiha? An old man asks. I know I can if Hokage-sen gave me the okay to go all out. Team may have his eyes, but they cannot stop something that cannot be seen, Naruto says as he begins to form a plan. Very well, you have my vote for this mission. Who else is willing to okay it? The man asks the rest of the group. 3 other hands go up, leaving the last 2. The oldest of them frowns but keep his hand down as the other female cage looks at Naruto, studying him like she had done many times before. You are to bring one of my ninja along with you. I believe he will be a great help in tracking Sasuke Uchiha down, and if you lose track you down, she says with a sigh before raising her hand. Thank you. Here is the scroll with full detail of the mission and a code name, Naruto says, handing the scroll to Tsunade, who reads the mission name. Codename Mon Calamari, sounds straightforward from what I am reading here. But I do agree with you are to take more than just Leaf Ninja along. Also we need something to draw Tobi and Kabuto away from this, Tsunade says before passing the scroll around. Isan said he would draw them out, Naruto says, waiting for the yells to start only for them to never come. Looking at brother Naruto saw him nod his head, making him wonder what the man's train of thought was. How long do you need to get your team ready? He asks, wanting to know what he would need to do help his brother. A week. For the mission I request Niji Hyuga, Shino Aburam and Shikamaru Nara. Those 3 I will need for this mission. Any others the cages wish to add will need to be brought up to speed and in the Leaf Village within a week. Very would you have a green light for Operation Mon Calamari, he says, getting a nod from most of the cages other than one. Naruto and his team bow before leaving to get ready for their mission. 1 week and 2 days later. Anything yet, Ao? Shikamaru asks their team sensor. Ao shakes, closes his eye as he focuses on everything around him, trying to find their target's chakra. Picking it up he notes it seemed to be waiting for something. S here but is waiting. Naruto, you better get ready, Ao says as Naruto nods and begins to grab his gear he had laid out so he could pick what he need. Ao notes several metal tubes hanging from Naruto's belt, wondering what they were for. Grabbing a cloak, Naruto throws it over his Anbu armor. On both his legs sat 2 tool pouches, one full of something he and his droid work on. Speaking of his droids, HK sat in the shadows cover in a very tattered cloak, waiting for the chance to remove some meat bags from the world. Checking his rifle and scope, HK nods to Naruto, telling him he was ready. The team then puts on their throat mics and earpieces as they also get ready. Shikamaru looks over the map they had of the trap. They had the droid check the seals to make sure nothing had happened and got the okay back. Naruto gave them a nod, telling them he was ready, and left with HK following his master. The rest moved to cover Ao. And just by chance the mission did go sideways. They would do their best to pull Naruto out with HK covering them. But Naruto and HK take cover on the cliff over there. If you have a shot when we are fighting, take, even if I am in the way. Because we cannot let team walk away, Naruto tells the orange battle droid, pointing to a good hiding spot for the droid. Since the war started, Naruto had been letting HK cause as much destruction as the little droid heart could take. HK even was able to get a few shots at Toby, nicking his arm with a blaster bolt from a half of a mile away. Statement. Masters, are you sure that is a good idea? Taking the meat bag down is important, but Master Raven would be very upset if I let you be killed, HK states with a small bit of fear in his voice. Naruto let out a small laugh at the fear in the voice. Do not worry, I have had a hand shoved through my chest 2 different times, so I can take a blaster 3. Just do not hit my head. I am unsure if I can recover from a head shot. Joy's inquiry. Master, may I shoot you now? HK asks, shaking with hope of being able to shoot something that could get back up again. No, I need to be able to fight him at 100%. Now get ready, he going to show up soon, Naruto says before leaping onto one of the statues to wait for his target to show up. An hour later, Sasuke Uchiha lands on the other statue, smirking as if it was his birthday. Sasuke was dressed in black pants with a white shirt, his black overshirt hand off his pants. In his hand was his sword, cracking with lightning. "Oh, you finally come to turn yourself over to us?" Sasuke asks, grinning his now evil grin. Naruto just looks at him before shaking his head. "No, I am to bring you back either peacefully or in a body bag. The choice is yours. But I have a feeling only one of us will be walking away from this." "That's right, and it will be me," Sasuke shouts before releasing a large ball of fire from his mouth at Naruto, who stands his ground. As the ball gets close, Naruto holds out his hand and force pushes the ball, making it stop before losing steam. Sasuke appears behind Naruto, swinging his sword in hopes to remove the dope's head. Jumping over the falls, Naruto pulls out 10 kunai and throws them at Sasuke. Sasuke replaces himself with a log, only to find him being thrown into a well by unseen force. "What did you do, dope? What type of jutsu was that?" Sasuke screams in rage, wondering why his Sharingan could not copy it. Naruto just grins before unsealing his lightsabers that he had made. With a loud snap hiss, both blades came to life, making Sasuke wonder if the Raijin no Ken had been copied and remade into 2 more blades. Charging, Sasuke figures it would break like every other sword he broke when sent his chakra into his sword. Naruto blocks using the black blade, looking now bored. "I see you have reached that block that all Sith reach. Only when they come back to the light do they understand how to get around the block like I have," Naruto says, breaking the lock that had formed by leaping back. "Well, you have great control over lightning chakra and jutsu. I have mastered all lightning technique. So let me show you what lightning should look like." Sasuke. Holding up his hand, Naruto points his fingers to the sky before purple lightning shoot out from his palm up to the sky before arching out, making almost a shield or dome covering him made out of lightning. Sasuke coving his body in lightning chakra charges and not knowing that his lightning would not be able to stand up to Naruto's force storm. Hitting one of the bolts, Sasuke grunts in pain as thousands of volts are sent through his body, making him jump back. "Where did you get this power from, dope?" Sasuke shouts in anger, making his chakra flare to a new height. Naruto bring his hand back in front of him, pointing a fist at Sasuke before ginning like a fox. "I earn it through sweat, blood, and tear. I work to get where I stand here today. Unlike you who had to get power given to him on a silver platter. You use your eyes to copy every jutsu you see, thinking it will make you stronger. But you forget to learn how to use it and understand each jutsu. Now feel what true power feels like," Naruto says, vanishing in a blur of color, charging, leaping a trail of melting rock behind him where his blades touch the ground. Sasuke jumps out of the way before launching Chibori Senbon all at Naruto body and in the path he predicted. Naruto senses the danger through the force and leaps over the falls to get out of the danger. Sasuke sees his attack miss and frowns, wondering how it miss. Sasuke then remains in place waiting for Naruto to return to attack him. HK sees his master's target standing off on his own, takes aim. Firing of 2 shoots, HK lowers the rifle and moves to a new position to take aim and fire again. Sasuke spots 2 red beams of supercharged gases heading for his head out of the corner of his eye and sidesteps them before looking around for the person who sent the jutsu at him. Naruto using chakra runs up the side of the valley, seeing the 2-shot being fired. Once at the crest, Naruto uses the force to throw himself up into the air and sail over Sasuke. Landing in a crouch, Naruto throws out both of his hands, using a force push to send Sasuke over the edge before forming a mini Rasen shuriken after him. The mini shuriken explodes before hitting the ground, taking out one of the largest chunks of earth HK is seen that is taken in one attack done by a meatbag. Sasuke replaces himself with a log, only to find he needs to dodge the sound of 2 humming blades. Ducking under one of the strikes, Sasuke slams his blade into Naruto's gut, making him vanish in a cloud of white smoke. Leaping back, Sasuke before release a large amount of lightning chakra, taking out all the trees in the area and any clones in the blast zone. Glaring around him, Sasuke release more chakra as his Sharingan begins to change into Mangekyo Sharingan. Naruto, crouching behind a rock, feels the change in the air and knows the true fight now begins. Turning both his blades on, Naruto flips over the rock, throwing the black blade at Sasuke. Sasuke ducks under it, charging Naruto, meeting him as soon as he lands. Naruto blocks with a lava blade before force pushing Sasuke back as he grabs his black blade. Sasuke charges back and using his Sharingan to find any weak spots in Naruto's defenses. Naruto for his part does his best to keep the holes closed, only letting them stay open to draw Sasuke in. Blocking another strike, Naruto backhand cuts to force Sasuke back. Leaping back, Sasuke releases a large black fire cloud from his left eye. Naruto's eyes get big as he leaps away, using the force to slow the fire down. Landing on the water in the valley, Naruto looks up at Sasuke, leaping down at him like a bird of prey coming in for the kill. Naruto slows his breathing down as he draws in on the force to help him get the timing down. HK watches his target fall towards his master and get ready to aim, only to spot Naruto turn off his blade and let him go, only for them to float in the air. Turning at eye so he was looking straight at his master, he saw Naruto had entered one of the most dangerous GD technique, battle mediation. Naruto opens his eyes and spins around to give Sasuke a roundhouse kick, only for his foot touches both of his sabers. Using chakra to keep them stuck to his foot, Naruto uses the force to turn them back on with a snap hiss. Sasuke sees what is coming with his Sharingan and pulls out his strongest defense. Naruto feels his sabers get blocked by something powerful. Opening his eyes, he sees Sasuke covering Sasuke, making sure it was not hurt. "I told you can never beat me, dope," Sasuke says with a smirk, not noting that Naruto was looking at his 2 sabers that seemed to be stuck. Naruto tested to see if they were stuck of just being slowed down. After seeing them move a little, Naruto grins. Leaping back, Naruto throws out both hands using the strongest force push technique he could use, aim at the water. If a person would draw a line straight to the water, they would see a large wave of water and force energy move out from that one point in every direction. Sasuke growls, seeing the so-called dope in his mind do more powerful moves and not able to copy them. The wave of water hit Sasuke, making it flinch from the force of the blow. The force wave hit next, tearing into the armor plating that was weakened by the water. Sasuke is blown back into his own defense, breaking the jutsu. Naruto lands on top of the water, watching Sasuke carefully to make sure he did not try anything. Throwing his hand out again, he uses the force to lift up several large rocks as he lifts his hand. Once his hand was over his head, Naruto frowns before bring it down in front of him, making the rock sail at Sasuke. Sasuke, using his Sharingan, dances around the rocks as if they were not there. Dodging the last rock, Sasuke turns to find Naruto fist, making a very painful landing to his left cheekbone. Sasuke head snaps to the side as his body takes flight from the blow. Not letting up, Naruto uses the force to grab him in midair and slams him into the ground as he force jumps. In the air, Naruto released 2 force pushes at Sasuke, pushing him deeper into the ground, only for them to hit a log Sasuke replace himself with. Hearing what sounds like birds chirping behind him, Naruto spins as he lands to see Sasuke charging at him with a handful of lighting. Naruto quickly pulls back with his right hand as at the same time pushing with his left hand, making Sasuke fall face first. Doing what looked like a backwards roundhouse kick, Naruto force kicks Sasuke into a wall. "Last time we fought here you won just barely. Looks like this time I will win without any problem. Now come back peacefully and stand trial for your crimes," Naruto says, sadly, seeing Sasuke slowly pulls himself out of the wall and stand on shaky legs. Sasuke spits out some blood before glaring at Naruto. "I will only return to that village to destroy it and watch it burn to the ground for what they have done to my family," Sasuke screams at Naruto, spit and blood flying out of his mouth from the rage. Naruto hangs his head, making a 2-finger salute to HK. HK sees the code and takes aim at Sasuke before firing 1 round. Sasuke once again sees the blaster round out of the corner of his eye and dodges it. Naruto meets him in mid-dodge with both of his blades moving quickly. Sasuke comes out of his dodge to find both his hands had been removing and 2 deep cuts on his left leg that already be cauterized by the lightsaber. Naruto watch in pain as his former best friend and brother fall to his knee in pain. Sasuke keeps glaring before smirking, "Do it, show me how much the Uchiha have been hurt." Naruto turns off his lightsabers and puts them away before walking away, nodding to his team. Ao lands behind Sasuke, making the missing nin turn his head to look at him, only to find his body stuck in place by a shadow. By the order of the Allied Shinobi Force Council, I am to take your life. Sasuke's eyes grow big hearing Naruto say that line. Before he could utter a word he found his throat being crushed before a loud snap was heard across the valley. Naruto releases his force chokes on the once living body of Sasuke. Without anything keeping the body up, it falls over to the side, just as two blaster rounds hit the chest and head, adding blast burn marks to the body. Ao pulls out a kunai and removes Sasuke's head from his body before sealing it and the body away. It's done. Let's get out of here, Ao says, getting a nod from everyone. They just hope that the other two strike team's mission paid off. They did not want Kabuto bring this person back from the dead. End of flashback. That would happen, Naruto says, wrapping up his story before taking a sip of tea. Jina remains silent, taking everything in. She could not believe Naruto had gone down the path of the dark side and then stop all during the battle. His hatred must have been powerful for him to call on those powers, but what she wanted to know was what brought him back. I had people I made a promise to, Naruto says, picking up what she was thinking through their link, making her blush lightly at being caught. Nodding her head, she takes a sip of her drink before letting out a sigh. Look, my mom shaving her head for me. And here I am, the stronger and wiser in the ways of the Force, and it took someone willing to lower herself to get me to come back. Looks like you passed me, Jina says with a true smile on her face, glad she now had a new goal to reach. Beat and surpass Naruto in power and knowledge of the Force. Naruto grins back before spotting something out of the corner of his eye. You notice them too, Jina asks, noting Naruto's sudden eye movement. Yay. I would have missed them if they had not started taking turns on their drinks, and the female mirror is set up so it faces us without looking like it. Since there are only 4 chakra users here on the planet, I have been ignoring everything lower than Chunin, Naruto says, keeping his eye on them. They are not locals or work under the Queen Mother, Jina says, using Naruto's eye as her own mirror. Someone from the Republic checking on you, Naruto asks, more than states. No, if they were from the Georgia they would have made contact by now, and I have already checked in with the embassy on the planet. Most likely someone from one of the Power family or Imperial from the embassy if I had to guess, Jina says, watching one of them get up and walk to the bathroom. You think they calling backup or betting they've been made? Backup, the one that left walk as if nothing was wrong. Also, I did not feel any different in the chakra flow. Beside, if we want to make it know that we made them we would have, Naruto says with a sigh. I really hate this stuff. Then get a new drink, Jina giggles. No, the drink grows on you. I am talking about the 6 since we pick up from war and the training Iro-san put us through, Naruto says solemnly, making Jina also look down, remembering her old teacher as well. Jina lifts up her glass to sensei. Naruto copies her to sensei, may he find many more hot spring bathhouses. Jina smiles and nods before both take a quick gulp of their drink. Both felt someone walking over to them. In fact, the whole room atmosphere had changed. Both look without moving. Spot 2 Red Guard walk in, followed by 4 stormtroopers. Behind them stood Ma Fell, looking like nothing was wrong. They both watch Fell look around the small cafe before his eyes land on Jina and smiles. Naruto tap his foot in code to Jina. Looks like they did call someone. I wonder why your friend did not tell us about him being here. She told me that I was safe and made sure no one from the Imperial could get close to us. He must have gone around her. Damn, if he pulls girlfriend card this is going to get ugly fast. Oh right, your engagement was not known other than to a few. Too late to hedge. How do you want to do this? I am caring. No more blood. Let's see what he wants, then play by ear. Fell now was standing next to the table looking at Jina with a $1 million smile. He threw one sideways glance at Naruto, trying to place him but could not. Looking back at Jina, he notes her not looking happy to see him. What are you doing here, Ma Fell? Jina demands, keeping a level tone even with her being unarmed. Under the table she was already channeling chakra into a small ball in her palm. Fell raised an eyebrow hearing this. He knew even in public they had to keep up some appearances, but he figured after being kidnapped, she would be happy to see him and jumped straight into his arms. I came to give my girlfriend a ride home. I heard what happened and came as soon as I could. Naruto snorts as he takes a sip of his tea to keep himself from saying BS to the load of bull Fell was spitting out. Fell turned to look at him and speaks in his most commanding voice. You can leave now. Sorry, you say something, Naruto replies without missing a beat, making Jina cough to hide her laughter. Fell begins to seethe with anger from being brushed off like he was a piece of trash, even if he was in the 2 minds in front of him. Fell straightens up before giving Naruto his best just try it glare he could with as much killer intent behind it he could muster. Naruto looks at him, then to Jina with the silent question of where the bloody heck did you find him? Jina bites her tongue at the weak kai she was feeling coming from her ex. Naruto looks at Fell and flashes a small amount of his own kai to see what would happen. Fell nearly loses all control over bodily function. I said you can leave as I am here to take Jina back to Coruscant if she does not want to face charges, Fell says quickly, hoping he could get Jina to come with him for 2 reasons. One being what he just said and the second to brainwash her so she would not remember what really happened on the Star Destroyer and get her to leave the GD for him. Naruto looks at him before pulling out a small data pad and log onto the holonet to find out if there was any truth in what he said. Finding there was, he hands it to Jina, who frowns. She must be off her rocker. She already banishes Uncle Luke. Is she trying to get rid the GD to revolt against her or what? Jina mumbles to herself as she reads the file. Handing the data pad back to Naruto, she turns to look at Fel, who was still glaring at Naruto. Ma Fel, I am able to get my own ride back. Tenel already said she would take me to Coruscant. I understand that, but the dragons are slower than my ships, Fel said, needing to get her under his control. And your Star Destroyers is slower than me. I can get her there within a blink of an eye, Naruto says, getting sick of the man thoughts. And how would you do that? Fel demands, want to know if he could get it for the Empire. Not saying for it's a family secret, Naruto says with a fox-like grin before standing up. Fel backs up a little but does not back down. Jina lets out a sigh, seeing this was about to turn into a fight over her, so jumps up to stop it. Ma Fel, while it is nice of you to offer me this ride, but the Queen Mother herself requests I remain for the rest of the week. If Chief of State Dala wants to put me on trial, she better get ready for one hell of political backlash. Jina tells the two men before they got into a fight that she knew Naruto would win, even if he had both arms tied behind his back and have both his chakra pathways closed as of and unable to use the force. Fel turns his gaze onto Jina and frowns. I was worried you would say that. I am sorry, but you will be coming with me, Fel says, getting a glint that Naruto knew all too well. Seeing that glint, Naruto snaps release all his seals and let the Kyuubi chakra roar to life as his Kai hits the mile-high mark and climbing. An orange chakra claw grabs Fel and slams into a wall, only for the wall to give way. Fel guards jump into action only to find both red guards go flying backwards from 2 chakra ball to the abdomen, courtesy of Jina. The last 4 stormtroopers saw Jina glowing blue from her own chakra output as she turns her gaze onto them. At your master and leave before the Queen Mother and her guard show up, Jina says, making them run only to bump into a 4-arm hunter-killer droid that had escaped from the place it was going to be destroyed, thanks to its counterpart. All 4 hands grab 1 trooper each before slamming into the ground, knocking them out. Query. Master, are we going to start a war? Hopeful statement. I do wish we are, the droid says, with the last part sounding like a teenage girl on a sugar high. The droid's red optical sensor turned to face Jina, trying to place the meatbag that helped his master. Observation. This meatbag is an 89% match to your first mate, master, HK-47 says, making Jina laugh at hearing what HK thought of her. Jina smiles at the slightly insane droid as she stands up. Nice to see you again, HK. Observation. Voice is also 89% match to her master. Query. Is this meatbag your first mate? HK asks, making Jina shake her head as she walks out the hole that Naruto made, followed by the builder of said hole. Laying in a pile of rubble with 3 cracked ribs, a broken hip, smash right arm, 5 broken ribs, to top it off both his legs had compound fracture. HK follows them out, picking up one of the blaster rifles from the troopers on the ground. Outside it looks like a mini battlefield from all the stormtroops lying or in the wall. Both Naruto and Jina turn to look down the street to see Hapes police and military all running and riding in speeder at a fast pace. You get to explain this one, Jina says before Naruto could get out of it. You still owe me, remember? Fine, but we are even after this because I know this means I am going to be filling out paperwork for hours, Naruto says with a whine. Serves you right for punting him through a wall, Jina says, looking at 2 stormtroopers that somehow got tangled up by vines growing from a tree. Walking over to them, Jina looks closely at the planet, not remembering seeing that type of tree before. Naruto looks over at the tree as well, wondering what that type of tree was doing here. Before any of them study it any farther, the polices show up. On your knees, hands on your head, now. Both Naruto and Jina look at one another and shrug before getting on their knees, placing both hands on top of their heads. 2 guards run up, grabbing their hands and put them behind their backs before putting stun cuffs on them before leading away. HK follows behind them, tied down to a slide of some kind. Well, this is fun, Jina says as she leans her back against a bar separating her cell and Naruto's. Both been free of the cuffs and the charge of the street damage, but could not leave until everything was cleared up. Jina was able to make a call to the GD temple, telling them what happened and to see what was going on with her trial that came up. Turn out Dala wanted to blame her for not taking her brother in alive. After that came to light, Dala drop it once the public heard this. She would need to pay a small fine for leaving before her observer was given to her. You are only looking at the small picture, not the big one, Naruto tells her as he leans against the same bar. He made his call to Anko, telling her to keep an eye out for stormtroopers and to take care of any that got too close to her and mission. After explaining to her why she wanted to know why she could not join him and Jina. We got to beat up some red guards, got HK back, I got to punt your ex through a wall. Oh, and let's not forget we are not stuck in here with Anko sensei. Jina lets out a small laugh remembering when they all got stuck in the same cell with a drunken Anko. Never of them could look at the other without blushing. When she did drink, Anko had no shame whatsoever. Started to flirt with the both of them at the same time and make very lewd comments. They got lucky only because Naruto told the guard he could pay them. Jina did not want to know what would have happened if they had not gotten out of there when they did. Okay, this is very fun, Jina says, voice heavily laced with sarcasm. Naruto laughs loudly at this before closing his eyes and taking a deep breath as he draws in on the nature chakra around him. Jina looks over at him, feeling the sudden change in his chakra. Naruto released soon after and smiles softly, feeling both his girls were okay. So what was your first order as Hokage? Made Anko-sensei full jonin, got Shikamaru as my advisor and promoted you as well to Anbu. That one no knew about other than a few people, Naruto tells her, making her smirk a little before leaning back into the bars. Wish you could have met my family before the war. I think you would have liked them. Naruto leans so he could look at her out of the corner of his eye and frowns a little. I will meet them one day when I join the others in the force, if I ever find a cure for immortality. Speaking of that, how immortal am I? Jina asks, wanting to know what the seal also traded. Can I go running into any fight without worrying about being killed? Or can I still die from a headshot or lose of head blood? Yours is easy to cure. Just remove the seal. Mine is from me holding the. Naruto stopped, making Jina turn to see Jag Fell walking up to the cells flanked by two troopers. First thing they both notes that Jag had no signs of being punched through a wall. Both she and Naruto stand up to be ready for anything. Looking at Naruto, she gets a nod in return. I thought you got sent through a wall, Jina states dryly, wanting to find out why Fell was still standing after that attack. Fell glares at Naruto while he speaks, he nearly killed a clone of me. Well, I will not press charges for that. I am still going to press charges for kidnapping and assault. I am also here to take you back to Coruscant. I have a court order to take you back. Fell holds up the court order, showing it to Jina. Reaching out, she feels it is the real deal, knowing that was how Fell was able to get Hapes. The corner of Naruto's mouth twitches hearing this as he draws in on the force to find a way out of the mess they found themselves in. Closing his eyes, Naruto looks for the best path to take before opening his eyes. Jina Solo, as your ranking officer and Hokage, I command you to remain here until we are both released. At that point in time I will escort you personally to Coruscant, Naruto say in a very commanding voice, shocking Jina at the sound of it. She knew he was a good leader, but being able to speak like if someone would try to question his order, be dead before the question left their mouth. Not dead as I'm killing them, but dead from their body fighting back until it shut down to stop the question. Fell takes a step back at the voice, not liking how every time he tried to get close to Jina, this person kept him from getting close to her again. You have no power here or over her, Fell says, trying to find some form of strength to fight back against that voice. Hearing this, Naruto could not help but chuckle and grin, showing of his longer than normal canines. Taking steps forward until he was standing at the front of the cell, Naruto shakes his head. She is a citizen of the Republic, and I know for a fact you are not and have no military rank there. Who said anything about the Republic? Beside, I know the laws. She is a ninja from the village hidden in the leaves long before the Yongvan War. So I believe that would make her fall under my command, as I am the ranking officer from that village. So by law even Dala has no command over her. The only people who have any command over her that outrank me are the GD Council and the Grandmaster of the GD Order. So take those orders and shove it, because you are not going to sink your claws into her again, Naruto says before shooting his hand through the bars, breaking right through the two energy shields covering both sides of the cell. While his hand never reaches Fell, he did get the picture and quickly left. The next day, Naruto found himself sitting behind a desk in a large courtroom facing at two humans and what looked like to be a very nicely clean hut. He could not understand why the hut was sitting in the judge's seat at the hearing. Next to him or it sat a representative of the Empire and Republic. The man from the Republic was an ambassador, looked to be in his later 50s. His cut hair show he at one point served in the armed forces. The man from the Empire was dressed in uniform, showing his rank as captain, making Naruto uneasy about him. Looking behind him, Naruto nods to Jina, who was sitting with Anko on her left, and Mission, who was on her lap holding her toad. Sitting on the other side of Anko was the Queen Mother, who kept a straight face waiting to see what would happen. Looking to his side, Naruto sees Fell sitting and talking to another officer from the Empire. We shall begin, the hut says calmly with no sign of boredom. Its eyes show that it was taking this case without asking for something in return. Naruto notes it, looking behind him, then to him, do you not have legal representative? Naruto stands before speaking, Your Honor, I. Naruto was unable to finish as another voice spoke up, this one female, what he is going to say is his representative is running a little late, Your Honor. Naruto looks at her, trying to place her as he knew he had met before. The woman walks over and bows to the judges before sitting down next to Naruto. The woman was dressed in tan and white robes, holding a data pad in her right hand. Her skin was brown-gray, almost a bark color from a tree. Her hair was a shade darker and looked like tendrils. Her green-yellow eyes swept the courtroom before landing on the Queen Mother. Bowing to her, the woman turned back to the hut. "I am Master Trasa of the Old Republic, your honors." "You are needy, are you not?" the Republic ambassador asks, leaning forward, studying the woman closely. Tra nods her head in a small bow before standing up again to speak. "Your honors, I wish for a few minutes with my client to make sure we are ready." "You have 5 minutes," the hut says before leaning to him left to speak to an aide standing by him. Tra bows again before taking the seat next to Naruto. Naruto looks at her, trying to figure out why she would be here and why she was being his legal representative. Once seated, Tra leaned so she and Naruto could talk without anyone hearing them. "Before you tell me to leave, let me speak. I made a promise to your grandmother to watch over her family line when she passed during childbirth. While you may be well-versed in lay and politics, you have not learned how this era works just yet. So let me help you," Tra tells him, making Naruto study her even closer before smiling softly and nod his head. "I am glad you agree. Now I know you will want to keep your daughters out of this, but they will play a key part in this case, and if they speak, it will change this case altogether. I already have the audio logs, HK and T3 recordings, thanks to HK. Also, I have the records showing how out of date my star charts are," Naruto says, giving her a quick inventory of what he has on hand. Tra nods her head before placing everything into place. "Then we will need to call on Jina, and there is a chance we may need to give your homeworld position and star charts if we want to get you out of this mess. Let's begin." Tra stands up, making the hut look at her before nodding to her to speak. "Your honor, we are ready to begin." She waits until everyone settles down before speaking again. "I have no wish to drag this case any longer than need be, so I would like to call the droid known as HK-47 to come in." 2 guards walk in with blasters pointed at HK-47 head, with a third holding a shock cord wrap around his neck. HK walks over and takes a seat below the hut. "State your name, make and current owner if would please," Tra asks, well, more like tells HK, who red eyes scan the room before center on her. "Answer. This unit number is HK-47. Correction. This unit is not other like it. I am the only kind as my first master made. Answer. This unit current master is Master Naruto and Mr. Sanko, Mr. Mission, both of prioritize as alpha level protection." HK answers, making many in the crowd wonder who made him. "HK-47, would you please tell the court who made you?" Tra starts, only for Jag to stand up. "Your honor, this droid has no right to be here." "Mofel, this droid carries 2 sets of audio and visual files on it, not just its own, but of its partner droid that I believe your forces destroyed. Now HK, if you please answer my inquiry." "Answer. Lord Revan." Wishful thinking. "If only he was a droid," HK states, making Tra nod her head before moving. "HK, would you please upload all visual and audio files you have before, during and after your ship was boarded by Imperial forces." HK eyes flicker before coming back to their dark red color. "Files have been uploaded." "Thank you HK, now before you go, have these files been tampered in any way?" Tra asks, already knowing the answer. Answer. No. Observation. Primitive meatbag did try to tamper with them. Depressed statement. "He did not even scream," HK says as he is led away. Tra waits until he leaves before having the audio and visual files play for the court. Once they had finished, she turns to face the judges. "As you see, Imperial forces not only boarded the Ebon Hawk without warning, they made no move to have the ship leave the system or find out why it was in the system." "Objection, these files could have been forged for all we know," Jag shouts in anger. "Beside all droids that are taken into Imperial custody are first searched, then either returned to their rightful owners, destroy if found dangers, or have their memory wiped before taken to a lab to be studied. This one from the files I have had its memory wipe, so therefore it should have no audio or visual files of any kind before a certain date. That may be true if it did not have a secondary system of all systems hidden away out of reach from prying hands. HK was been changed to not only to work at 100%, even damage, he is also able to hide away all memories it has by locking them down in several hidden memory cores that he does not know about," Naruto explains with a flat voice, turning to look at Jag. "Even if I wanted to, I could not give HK a memory wipe. As he stated, HK was made from scratch. Even if I were to take him apart and put him back together again, I could not make another one like him. Still, the droid could have made those files," Jag growls, seeing the case was already turning against him. "Well, HK could have done that. HK would rather show the best thing, get him something to shoot. In this case it was the truth. HK programming has been changed over the year. In this last year I had to remove those programs to make room for several new ones. Beside test them, you will find them to be the real deal," Naruto said, leaning back into his chair, closing his eyes as he planned out his next few words. It was like dealing with village council and the cages at their meetings. Say the right word and you could get a mountain move, say the wrong word and you lose everything overnight. "But I want to know why you have not shown us the flight records of the ship that overtook mine." Jag opens his mouth, then closes them before leaning to the person to his left asking him something before speaking again. It would seem that the records were destroyed by one of the moths. We will work on getting all records here as soon as possible. But it will not matter either way, yours is clearly a fake. Let's just get this over with, start calling your witness to the stands. Tra bows her head before looking to the hut to speak his mind. Shifting so he was sitting up more, the hut had pay extremely close attention when the audio and video logs show what happened on the Hawk and how the Imperial side had no records. He could see that Jag was now stalling, hoping to either use this time to get the records or make them up. He also knew this case would cover Jina solo kidnapping, so the hut figured Jag could be holding out so he could take her. Either way, Jag wanted to string this out as long as he could. Master Tra, you may call your first witness to the stand. Thank you, your honors. I would like to call GD Knight Jina solo to the stand, Tra says softly but still loudly so her voice could carry over the courtroom. Jag cursed under his breath, hoping to be able to force her to leave by dragging the case out. Either Tra knew this or she had something up her sleeve. Jina raised an eyebrow hearing was being called to the stands. Standing up, Jina finds Mission had decided she did not want to give up her seat. Mission had wrapped her arms around Jina's neck, dropping her stuffed toad so she could hold on better. Jina also felt Mission using chakra to stick to her. Mission, you need to let go, I have to go up there, Jina whispers into Mission's ear only for Mission shake her head no and wrap her leku around her as well, making it harder for Jina to remove her. Jina lets out a sigh before taping a pressure point on Mission's spine, making her go limp for a few seconds, letting Jina place her in the Queen's mother's lap before walking up to the stand and taking a seat after bowing to the hut. Once seated, Jina takes a deep breath and forces herself to relax before feeling Naruto reach out in the force to help her. Tra waits for Jina to nod her head before beginning. Please state your name, rank, and relationship to the Aduses for the court. I am Jina Solo Jonin of the Hidden Leaf Village. As for my relationship to the Aduses, he is my ranking officer in the field, Jina says before sitting up straight as she reaches into her cloak and pulls out a very old headband, then with a metal plate that had an etching of a leaf on it. She then ties it behind her head to hold up her hair. Very few caught sight of a green vest under her cloak over her shirt. Naruto eyes widen hearing how she going to face the case and leans forward to watch closely. Tra was also surprised by Jina's statement, clearing her throat. Tra begins to question Jina. Ms. Solo, would you please explain to the court what do you mean by ranking officer in the field? Naruto Uzumaki holds the title of Hokage, making him the ranking officer of all Hidden Leaf forces in and out of the village. But seeing as he is here, Naruto most likely has passed the hat on to someone else. Jina tells the court that her last statement was more of a question to Naruto to make sure he did hand the hat off. Getting a nod from him, Jina turns her eyes back to Tra. Well, he is no longer Hokage, he is still my superior in the field and village at all times. Objection, she has clearly been brainwashed. Our records show she part of the Georgia and his rank as a GD Knight and the sword of the GD, the Imperial officer next to Jag shouts as he jumps to his feet with a hand raise. Naruto turns to look at the man and found him lacking badly. The man was no older than 25 and from the look of it very green to war in the courtroom. He most likely got his rank because of a family member who was high up in ranking and government. Master Tra, the hut simply asks looking at her. Yes, her official records here in the Georgia Empire and Hapes Consortium show that. But I have records dating back to when she was 16, showing she was already part of the Hidden Leaf Village before she ever earned a rank in of your military and GD forces, Tra says as she pulls out one of the 4 copies of Jina file during her time as a Leaf Ninja. In this file it shows that not only Jina solo part of the Leaf Village, she was part of their armed forces and work under several of their best military leaders. Your Honor, I cannot show you this entire file because it would betray the Adusa's trust and possibly give away where his home is. Hidden villages survive on being able to hide from their enemies. The hut nods his head before Tra opens the file and laying it before him. The hut looks at the 2 pages that we are showing. On the left page was a picture of Jina solo no older than 18 wearing a black shirt under what looked like chainmail tank top with a green vest over both. Around her forehead was the headband she had pulled out and used to tie her hair back into a tail. The hut looked closely at Jina's eyes to see if the picture was a fake or she was forced into the military of this village. What he found was not anger, rage or anything of those sorts. What he found in Jina's eyes was Jina trying to stop herself from laughing. Looking down the page, it was a basic profile on her at a young age. The other page show who she serves under and with. Objection overruled. She has not been brainwashed and been serving the Leaf Village long before she served any other military force. But can she be trusted still? Yes, before she left the village to return here she had all of her memories of the village, missions and anything else that could lead someone back to the village if they got their hands on the info. It was not until a few days ago did her memories return. So in fact since she has left the village she'd been removed from serves of the village, she was no better than an outsider at that point, Naruto answers trying to keep Jina out of trouble. The Hut looks at Naruto closely, seeing he was lying, but he was doing so Jaina would not be in any harm for serving his village. Nodding his head, the Hut looks at Jaina. Very well, this will not go on your records. You may continue, Master Tra. Thank you, Your Honor, Tra says before picking the file back up and placing it on the table in front of Naruto. Turning back around, she walks back over to Naruto. Jaina Solo, can you please tell me how well you know the Aduses? I knew him for about 3 years before leaving the village. In that time I would say we grew very close. How close I really could not say, as we were teens at the time, so it could have just been all the hormones running through our bodies, Jaina answered, giving an answer, but being vague at the same time. As of right now I would say close friends. I see, would you say Naruto Uzumaki is rash? Tra asks. Hard to say. When he was younger, yes, he was rash at times, usually dealing with social interactions. He usually spoke what was on his mind and called people for what they were. As of now I would say he has grown out of it mostly, Jaina says, smiling at the jab she just sent to Naruto. Naruto smirks before shaking his head. So you do not think he would deliberately enter a no-fly zone and start a scan of the system? Tra asks Jaina. No. From what he told me and what I now remember, the system he did enter was where we plan on meeting up if he ever left the village. As for the scan, I would say he probably wanted to get his bearings before making his next move. His people are not known for space travel, as it was one of the reasons I was stuck there for so long. Also, at the time when made the plans, the system was not controlled by the Empire, and since I had no way of contacting him to tell him a new place, he must have gone with what we already planned, Jaina explains to everyone. And from what we heard in the records from HK, it seems that the Empire jumped the gun on this one. Last one, Ms. Solo. Can you tell at any time since meeting Naruto Uzumaki, has he made any attempts to control you? Tra says, not knowing she was now holding a very dangerous gun in her hand. Jaina blinks at the question, not sure how to answer it. I can neither confirm nor refute that question. The memory that I had place in itself is a way of controlling a person, Jaina says, making Jag grin, only for Jaina hold up a hand to stop anyone from speaking. But I took the seal to protect the village, as Naruto had saved my life no less than 2 times. I figure it was the less I could do to keep a place that was my home for about 3 years and my friend's home. So I cannot say yes or no. Thank you, Ms. Solo, I am finished, Tra says, taking a step back to let Jag a chance to sway the court in his favor. As soon as she sat down, Jag was already walking up to Jaina with a small plan already in mind. Jaina, could you please tell the court who is the highest ranking officer in this room over you? Naruto Uzumaki. He was Hokage, making him the highest ranking officer in this room. Only his country leader would maybe ranking over him, but even then they are still equal in terms of political power. Under him right now would be the Queen Mother, then the ambassador from the Georgia, Jaina answers, making Jag grin, his teeth slightly in frustration, as his ex-girlfriend was making it harder for him in every way to get her to come back to him. What did the question have to do with this case? It was to see where your loyalties truly lie with, Jag says before walking away a few steps to think. When you got the memory seal you no longer served the Leaf Village. Yes. But aft. So then Mr. Uzumaki is no longer your ranking officer? At the time, no. Then how could he be? He gains the title of Hokage, making him the highest ranking member in his village. But you are not part of the village anymore. Before he returned, yes. Now So if you are no longer part of the village, why is he still your ranking officer? Because he gained the title of Hokage. So anyone who gains the title of Hage is your ranking officer. If so, I will become Hage and then become your ranking officer. You can't. For 1, you are not part of the village, and 2, you need to serve in it military to even be thought about becoming Hokage. And it's not Hage, it's Hokage. You will say it right and with respect the title deserves. Naruto could hear the venom in Jaina's voice at the end. Also, when I had my memories unlocked, I was reinstated back into the village military as a jonin. You left the village and it has been more than 10 years, so he should not be able to pull you back into serves like that. It in village does not work like our military do. Even retired members of the force can still be called back into serves in a time of emergency or when manpower is low. When Naruto reinstated me, it was turning a time of low manpower, as he was the only member from the village out here. Now if there say 2 others, he may not have reinstated me. And why are not more members of his village out here? Because there were only 2 ships on the planet could even get off the ground. Mine and the Hawk, thou not sure how far the Hawk could really go from how old it was. Jag growls lowly before bowing out and sitting down. Seeing no one else get up to question her, Jaina stands up, bowing quickly to the hut before going back to her seat. Tra stands back up to call the next person to the stand. Later that day, Master Tra, do you have anything else to add? The Hut asks as he mulled over everything he had heard. Your Honor, I have nothing else to present that would help her destroy what I have been fighting for, Tra says as she stands up before looking over at Fell. Unless the Empire has something to add. The Hut watches Fell shift in his seat, seeing how quick the trial went. He was hoping for a long drawn-out case where he could slowly bring in what he need or force Jaina to leave. Seeing that Fel was not going to say anything, the hut shifts so he is sitting or standing up straighter. Very well. I move for all charges drop. I find no evidence showing Mr. Naruto Uzumaki enter Imperial space to gather intel on troop movement or any such recon of sorts. I also find the Imperial forces in the area act without cause in the way they did. Since the Empire has not shown me any proof saying otherwise. I also ask for the Empire to pay a fine of 500,000 credits for damages to person. Another 500,000 credits for kidnapping and holding against their will for both of his charges. 900,000 credits for destruction of personal property. Now the droid is an old T3. What would price for one of those? The Hug looks down at a datapad trying to find a price. 3. 4 million credits seem fair. Any objections? Hell makes a move to stand up only for the officer next to him pull him down standing up in his place. Well, the Empire can pay those charges. It does not change the fact he enter our space without a pass, even if he did not know it. I would like him banned from entering Imperial space for any reason, even if it is to travel through it. Okay, and what if the only way to get to my home planet is through your space? Naruto asks before shaking his head. Look, the droid and ship I can live with losing, but hurting my daughters and trying to brainwash them I will not stand for. So unless you can do something that can make up for that, then I recommend you get ready to pay big time. Jina raises an eyebrow at this, seeing how Naruto wanted Fel to make a deal. Fel also sees this before standing up and walking over to him. Tra gets up and walks up to the stand to speak with a Republic representative about something. Okay, what is it you want? Fel growls, not liking how either he had to pay big time or bow to this fool in his mind. A few things other than dropping all charges and leaving Jina-chan alone. 1. You are going to buy me a ship for destroying my last one. Next, you will pay a small fine to get my girls through school. I am not going to send them to some up-and-up school. Finally, I want to be able to travel through your space. I will let you even do random check on my ship when in your space. As for the ship, I am not wanting some star destroyer, a simple CR-90 Corvette will be fine, Naruto says before grinning. Either way I win. This way I will not leak out how you kidnap my kids or attack me. But your toy soldiers will be brought to light. Hell looks ready to attack him, then stops. Fine, better take something that I can hang around the moth neck that was in charge of the ruse program. But I want to know where your planet is. But thank you for agreeing to drop all charges and leave my friend. You can expect a bill in the mail within a week. Have a good day, team, Naruto says, holding out his right hand as he places a recording device on the table with his left. Break any part of this deal and this tape not only goes to the press, but I will tell everyone what you did. Hell takes the offered hand, shaking it while forcing a smile before leaning in close. Know this as well, I see you ship anywhere in Imperial space it will be destroyed, even if you have me giving you the okay. I'm sending the tape to a safe place, so you better be good, Naruto says as he walks away from Fel to face the hut. We have come to agreement, the Empire is dropping all charges. If there nothing else I would like to be on my way. Very well, this matter have been close. The Empire will still pay a small fine of 100,000 credits every year for amount of standard days. Both Mission and Anko Uzumaki were in prison, the hut says, before bringing his hand down on a small buzzer. Jina lets out a sigh as she sat in her apartment. She pulled out a holo photo of her family and smiled at them. It had been nearly 2 years since she crashed on the planet. While she made a few friends, she still misses her old ones. Getting up, she walks into her kitchen to make something to eat only for the doorbell to ring. Reaching out in the force, she feels her teammate standing on the other side. It's open, Jina calls out as she starts looking for food. Naruto walks in and looks around before finding his friend pulling out an apple to eat. Waving, he walks over to a chair and sits down. I thought we had the week off. We do. I was wondering if you want to go out and get something to eat. My treat, Naruto asks as he rubs the back of his head. I know it's kind of late, but I figure we could do something together. Jina looks him over, trying to figure out what he was hiding. He rubs the back of his head and neck when he was nerves and hiding something from someone. She knew better, then dives into his mind to find it, thanks to how strong his will was and what he could do in there. She could tell he was not planning on planking her. Looking at her chrono, Jina lets out a sigh. I rather not, Naruto, I kind of want to be alone today, sorry. Oh okay, Naruto says as he gets up. Jina saw how hurt he looked. Naruto stood there for a minute before pulling out a small box and placing it on the table before leaving. Jina watches him leave before picking up the small box. Opening it, she finds a card and a simple silver necklace with a Republic symbol engraved on a dark purple tag. Picking up the card, Jina opens it. Dear Jina, I want to thank you for being my friend even if we got off on the wrong foot. I know it sucks being stuck here, so I hope this makes up for all the times we got in trouble because of me. I enjoy the time we spent together and hope we can hang out some more. Dear friend Naruto, have a happy life day. Jina drops the card, even he had not said it she could tell Naruto was lonely and runs outside trying to find her blonde friend. Turning a corner, she finds him slowly walking down the road. Running, she starts to call out to him, "Naruto, wait." Naruto stops and turns around, seeing Jina running at him. Jina slides to a stop before speaking, "Thank you for the gift. It would means a lot to me if we could go get something to eat." "Really, you are going to get this hunk of metal?" Jina says with a smirk as she installs a new hyperdrive core in Naruto's new ship. He had just got the ship for a good price, but was surprised that he got such a big ship. CR-90 could run up to 3 million, and he got it for less than half of that price. 25 million or something if she remember right. Probably only got it that low because he told the sale owner Fell was paying for it. Naruto just shakes his head as he hands her the tools she needed. He had a clone overseeing the rest of the ship, making sure everything was working and getting the layout just right. He wanted half of it to be a big cargo hold. The other half would be split between apartments and crew quarters. He was also having a large work area installed with a good-sized lounge, even talk about turning one of the staterooms into a greenhouse. The bridge had been redone so the ship could be flown by 2 people and if needed by just 1 person. They both had spent the better part of the day installing the new hyperdrive, along with a backup drive. "Look, I need a place where I can really let loose if I need to. Beside, how are you going to sneak away from your observer if you have to use your own ship or the Jettis? Give me a call and I will get you out of there and take you to wherever your heart wants to go, only if it has ramen," Naruto says with a smile, making Jina laugh at him as she finishes installing the last core. The CR-90 now had a Class .5 that Jina had a feeling would be soon upgrade, along with a sublight drive, making it so her dad's ship would need an upgrade. While Naruto made sure his ship had gun ports, he had not installed any. "Whatever, I am about done here, we can then make sure everything else is up and running." "Not sure why you wanted 2 backup hyperdrive cores. You really just need 1 unless you are planning something I need to know about," Jina says as she leans on top of the core to look at Naruto, who just grins back, making her sigh. Taking a step back, Jina launches herself over the core, landing on her feet without hitting anything. "Come on, let's get out of here before Dala comes up with something else to charge me with." "As you wish, oh powerful GD," Naruto says as he picks up a few things that Jina left on the ground. Jina groans, knowing she was going to get called every nickname Naruto came up with. Shaking her head, Jina helps Naruto gather up the tools before placing them in a small pile to be sealed away. Picking up a scroll, Naruto places it on a workbench before heading out of the engine room into the main walkway. The walkway was the only scaffolding stretching half of the interior of the ship until Naruto could get a better walkway installed. The construction droids were putting in the last unit before going to seal up the hull. "So you thought of a name for her yet?" Jina asks as they enter an airlock to the living area of the ship. Moving through a hallway with doors leading to crew quarters or apartments, Jina had to admit it was a well thought out layout. Every access point could be defended with ease, with escape pods near the apartments and the engine room. The hammerhead front of the ships had 2 pods on either side, so the bridge crew or anyone there could get off the ship quickly. Naruto also told her when he found the ship the last owner had talked about putting small blaster turrets throughout the ship to keep attackers pinned down at key points. "I am either thinking of naming her the Ebon Hawk or Will of Fire, hi no Ishi, but in my native tongue. That or call it the ramen," Naruto said as his stomach growls, wanting to be fed soon. Scratching the back of his head, Naruto grins before laughing at himself for being hungry. Jina giggles lightly before heading to the gallery to get them something to eat. Naruto follows her as he thinks up a name for his ship. Pulling out a coin, Naruto flips it, wanting to see what it would land on. Grabbing it out of the air, Naruto opened his hand to see it standing straight up even as he moved his hand. "That's cheating, Jina. You do know any ship here in the Hapes cluster is male, right? What sounds more manly?" Jina chimes at Naruto, who nods his head in understanding. Looking back at the coin, Naruto puts it back in his pocket before grinning. Wrapping an arm around Jina, Naruto pulls her close in a one-arm hug. "I do not think I welcome you aboard the Ebon Hawk," Naruto says as he lets her go reluctantly. Jina smiles, feeling the same thing. Then again, they did date for 3 years and have her old memories unsealed, making them sit at the front of her mind. Jina knew she would need some time to sort everything back out to figure if what she was feeling for Naruto now was old memories or the truth. "Okay, everything checks out," Jina tells Naruto as she climbs into the pilot seat. While she trusted Naruto, she figures to play on the safe side for the first flight of the Hawk. Naruto nods his head as he closes up the loading ramp as HK and a few clones secure the last of the cargo in the main cargo hold. "So any reason why we are stopping at Kuwait again?" Naruto asks as he hops into his seat. Jina rolls her eyes at him as she starts up the Hawk. He was just asking to get her round up. Seeing this, Naruto lets out a sigh as the ship comes to life with a soft roar. "Hapes control, this is the Ebon Hawk requesting permission to depart," Naruto says into the comms as Jina goes through the final pre-flight checklist. Naruto turns his head as HK walks onto the bridge and straps into a seat. "Ebon Hawk, this is Hapes control, you have clearances, please follow flight path Alpha 4T, a female voice comes over the comms. Naruto looks at once of the screens to see the flight data and path scroll across the screen. Jina looks over the path and enters it into the computer before slowly pushing more power into the sublight. As the Ebon Hawk slowly rises into the sky, Naruto leans back, letting the force flow around him as he closes his eyes, seeing things to come and things of the past mixing together, making him wonder what was to come and what it all meant. As the hawk left the gravity pull of Hapes, Jina enters the hyper coordinates of Kuat before punching it. Okay, let's talk about the seal, and me have cage level chakra with me gaining my memories back, Jina demands as she turns to face Naruto, who takes the headset off and turns to face her. Then let's start with the chakra first because that will lead into the seal. Now this is only a hypothesis on why your chakra levels are so high. I believe that your levels are so high is that even with your memories and most of your chakra sealed away, it began to pool in the seal. But I also believe from what you told me, you tap into your chakra subconsciously, forcing it out of the seal to increase your speed, strength and reaction time. With the pull on your chakra, your body began to increase your chakra reserves and make a secondary chakra system like mine. Now with the seal removed, both of your chakra system joined together, giving you a flash burn of sorts, like when you first unlock your chakra system, Naruto says with a shrug. Again, this is only a hypothesis because I have no true way to test it or prove it. Jina sits still for a few minutes to think everything over. What Naruto said did make sense if she thought about it. During the wars, whenever she was in a tight spot, she suddenly got a small increase in power. At the time she thought it to be the force, but now she knew it to chakra, if only a very small amount. For the seal, therein lays the problem. Well, I knew I was going to be an immortal, the seal was, as you know, give us a bond to transfer force powers and chakra through. What I did not plan on was my immortality to pass through it. Once again, this is only a hypothesis. I believe if we were to remove the seal, you would become mortal again in sorts. While the seal and bond are great, I do not want it to rule your life. You once asked how immortal you were. Well, let's just say you better keep your head on you at all times. So a beheading will kill me, Jina says, letting out a loud sigh. While she cared greatly for Naruto, he was a major pain at times. But she could not fault him on it, for she did agree to the seal. She could feel Naruto closing of part of the mental link, so she could think in peace. While she would like to be mortal, she knew if she gave up the seal, she would lose a part of her being. Jina and Naruto sat there with only the hum of the ship making any sound. To be free but give up part of your soul, or keep the soul intake but watch loved ones grow old while you remain the same. Naruto, if I fall in love someone but keep the seal and bond, will you be willing to close the mental link? Naruto could see Jina was hurting over this, taking her hands he rubs small circles over the top of Jina's hand to calm her down. Naruto smiles softly at her, I will, Jina. Jina smiles back even if it was shaky at best. A weight had been lifted from her shoulders. Pulling her hands back, Jina gets up and leaves the bridge to go find a place to relax and meditate. Naruto lets out a sigh, knowing the talk went better than it could have been. The next 2 days were going to be long. Heading up, Naruto walks over to one of the data terminal before he starts looking up different starfighters and their specs. He had a good idea on what he wanted, but still bitter to make sure the plan worked. This is going to take longer than I thought, Naruto complains to himself as he starts looking over the data. Shaking his head, Naruto pulls up all the files he could get on the RZ-1A wing interceptor. It was a small nimble fighter that carried a good amount of weapons, 2 laser cannons and 2 missile launchers for a crafted size. But overall it did not fit into what he needed. Letting out a sigh, Naruto starts looking up other fighters. Yep, a long 2 days. Good space control, this is the Ebon Hawk looking for clearance to land on orbital ring, Jina speaks over the comm from the co-pilot seat. Naruto kept his bird coming up to the ring at a slow speed and within the traffic lanes. Naruto had let out a small whistle at the size of the ring. Well, it was no Starforge and was really damn close to one. Ebon Hawk, this is Kuat space control, your vessel does not match any no vessel, a rough female voice replies back over the comms. Jina bites back a curse, forgetting to make sure the Ebon Hawk was registered with the Republic Space Control. Naruto grabs the mic before Jina could reply back, making her want to hide, knowing he was going to do something stupid. But we are registered. You just need to look up L96 to 277 to 521, Naruto tells the woman, making Jina lay her head down on the control panel. Hold, the woman tells them. Both sit there waiting a good 10 minutes before the woman starts speaking again. You have clearance to land. Would you be requiring anything else? The AI need to have armaments installed, Naruto says with a grin at Jina, whose shoulders slump. Naruto looks back at the controls as Jina starts to mumble into the control panel. Naruto slowly follow the flight path to the dry docks before a tracker beam pulls them in. Once safely on the landing pad, Naruto turns off the engines and leans back into his chair, looking over at Jina, who was still face down. 3 days I had to deal with you trying to break one thing or other, 3 day, you should be kissing the ground I walk on for helping you get HK back together after your daughters took him apart, Jina shouts at him, making Naruto raise an eyebrow at her. Hey, how was I supposed to know they got their hands on him? Speaking of which, where are they? Naruto says, looking around the room only to find 2 of the seats empty. Jina eyes also land on the empty seats. Both of them quickly get out of their seats and vanish in a cloud of leaves and white smoke to find them. Naruto reappears in the main cargo hold only to find the loading ramp already lowered and HK standing at the base. HK, have you seen the girls? Naruto asks as slides to a stop by the ramp. HK turns to look up at him. Negative. I have not seen the two small meatbag master, HK replies with what sound like joy in his voice. Naruto lets out a growl before looking back into the ship and frowns. Keep an eye out for them. Naruto runs back into the ship heading to his room to grab his gear. With Jina reappear in the crew quarters and begins to check all the rooms only to find Tra, who told her she had not seen them since the morning when she was watching them. Worried, she moved to the engine room as she reaches out in the force to find them on the ship. All she could feel was Naruto in a panic as he kept searching only to feel him suddenly change in a sense. Stopping herself, Jina rolls as not to trip over her own feet when she stopped, turns and vanished to outside Naruto's quarters to find him exiting it. He was dressed in full combat gear with Revan's helmet in hand. HK has not seen them, and I could not feel them anywhere on the ship with Sage Mode, Naruto tells her as she uses the force to summon her gear. She could feel Tra also moving, most likely from the waves of energy rolling off Naruto. Both made their way to the exit as Jina clips on her tool belt and grabs her lightsaber. Throwing on her cloak, she leaves it open so people could see her tan tank top and black pants. Pulling out her headband, she ties it around her forehead as she falls into step with Naruto. Tra meets them at the ramp. I will not stop you two, she tells them as she stands in their way and holding up a hand to let her speak. But I ask only to use restraint as not everyone wish harm to them. I would find the Mandalorians first before ripping the station apart. Naruto nods his head as both he and Jina walk around her. Tra lets out a sigh as she sits down at the foot of the ramp, seeing HK walk after his master. Closing her eyes, Tra relaxes as she lets the force flow through her. Both Anko and Mission made their way through the bustling hallways of the space station. Anko was dressed in a pair of black pants on tan shirt with a large jacket that used to belong to her mother. She was holding Mission's hand, which was dressed in an orange sundress, holding her stuffed toad in one hand as her other was holding onto Anko. Both of them felt the cool metal on their bare feet. Now it was not their plan to just run off like they did, but Anko heard that there was a Mandalorian clan on the station and she wanted to see if they match up to the story she heard. That and she also get away from Jina. While she did not outright dislike her, to Anko she was some woman who knew her father. But she could see it in their eyes of feelings long past still there. She could not decide if she wanted the woman as a new mother or not. She knew Mission took to her like a fish to water. But then again, Mission seems to be able to tell if a person was good or not just by seeing them once. Probably why she stayed close to a few of the imps when we got caught. Anko thought as she and Mission glided around a human female with ease, making the woman turn to watch them. Raising an eyebrow, she moves after them with the same ease they showed. The woman never seen children move like that before. She had seen assassins with years of training do that, but children no older than 10. What was even stranger to her, they seemed to be heading for the Mandalorians. Naruto and Jina move quickly through the crowd walkways, quickly losing HK. While leaving HK to find his way was a very bad thing. What was worst was Naruto was starting to subconsciously tap into his demonic chakra. Jina knew this was going to get bad if his fears came true. She prays to the every god she could think of and hoped the force was with them. Anko could feel her father's chakra spike and knew she needs to get to the Mandalorians quickly. They were supposed to be some of the best fighters in the universe. She wanted to test her mettle against them and see how Jina stood up against them. Turning a corner, she grinned seeing her prize. Quickening her pace, Anko starts walking around the Mandalorians trying to find the duel circle. After 5 minutes of looking, she finds it. Walking over, she notices a lot of people standing around watching two teens fight hand to hand. Watching closely, Anko frowns when the shorter one is pinned to the ground. Winner, Car, a man in silver armor, shouts out, making the larger teen grin. The shorter teen stands up and walk out of the ring with his head bowed. Car looks around the ring to see who he would defeat next. Seeing no one walk out, Car tries to rile someone out. Is there no one who else that can best me? Car shouts out as he looks around. Letting go of Mission's hand before telling her to stay put, Anko walks out into the ring getting a lot of angry shouts. Car takes one look at her and scoffs, you insult me. I will not fight some weak little girl. Anko blinks once then twice before looking at Mission. Did he call me weak little girl? Mission nods her head before covering her stuffed toad's eyes and her own. Anko turns to look at Car before activating her Byakugan, making veins bulge near her temple and her pupils to stand out more. Car takes a step back seeing her eyes change. Anko turns to the man in the silver armor, rules. No weapons or force powers, the man says, not sure if the girl's eyes was something to do with the force. Anko nods her head before falling into her stance with the Byakugan still on, making Car look piss off. Hey, no force powers, Car shouts at her. My eyes have nothing to do with the force. Now let me show you where you truly stand, or are you afraid to face a daughter of Clan Revan? Anko snaps back, getting many of the older Mandalorians' heads to snap at her. They began to wonder if she was a descendant of the man who brought them to their knees. Kar, not knowing who Revan was, snorts before charging in with a left hook. Anko sidesteps before launching out 3 quick strikes that felt like taps to Kar's left arm. Coming in with a leg sweep, Anko leaps over it before mule kicking down at Kar's head from above him. Kar blocks it by crossing both arms in front of his face, making Anko smirk even more. Landing on her feet, Anko begins her attack. Kar found himself blocking and parrying Anko's attacks, only to feel his arms to slowly go numb. Leaping back, Kar tries to shake his arms to get feeling again. The man in the silver armor eyes narrow, seeing what Anko was doing. She was attacking muscle control points. Anko lowers her arms and stops channeling chakra to her eyes. This fight is over. Your arms are useless and I can see every move you make. This fight is not over, Kar shouts, charging and arms flaying behind him. Anko closes her eyes before spinning on the spot to deliver a roundhouse kick to Kar temple. Kar drops to the ground like a puppet with its string cut. Anko turns and walks over to Mission, taking her hand she begin to lead her back to their father's ship. They find the man in the silver armor blocking their path, making Anko glare up at him. Move it, tin can, or I will move you. I can't do that. You have answers to the questions we have, and you will give them, the man says, only to feel something clamp down on his shoulder. Turning to shout at the moron who wanted to die, the man comes face to face with Naruto, who was grinning in a way that would send the Sith even running. I believe I hear you say you are not going to let my daughters go, Naruto states as he turns the man to face him before slamming his knee into the man's chest, crushing the chest plate and the man's ribcage into dust. Dropping the man to the ground, Naruto unseals a helmet he had not used since his time in the Anbu. Jina, who was right behind him, eyes widen seeing the helmet. This was going to get messy very quickly. Putting on the helmet, Naruto takes a breath as he shifts over to his darker side. Out from his sleeves come his purple and red blade sabers, making everyone take a step back. Anyone wanting to try and take them will face me. A man in dark blue armor steps out of the crowd with narrow eyes. You claim the helmet of Revan, but I have seen old holo videos of him. You look nothing like him. The one form those dead many years before I was even a thought in the Force. I take up my ancestor name and armor, Naruto says, not even looking at the man, as his eyes had landed on the one person Jina knew was going to be trouble if he lost or beat him. The man had green armor. On his head was a green painted helmet with a black visor making a T. On the right side was a target rangefinder. On his back was a blue jetpack with a rocket coming out of the top. Over his left shoulder was a dark green cap. Under the armor was a double air flight suit. The man was Boba Fett. Your smell is off, Naruto says, looking at Fett, making everyone look at him. Jina was shocked to find out that Naruto's sense of smell was able to tell the difference in a human scent. Fett walks forward as he puts his helmet on. And you are nothing but a target if I wish it. The time of Revan has passed. The Mandalorians owe nothing to that name or that man's family. Naruto smirks as he spots several of the Mandalorians flinch, telling him not everyone saw the same as this man. Then as Revan once did, I am going have to beat the Mandalor. So who is first? Naruto says as he steps into the dual ring closing of the link to Jina. Jina, feeling the link close, pushed back, trying to understand only to get a feeling of honor, making her understand Naruto had to do this without any help from her. A man in yellow steps out and cracks his neck. Everything goes. He says as he walks into the circle, pulling out a sword. Show me what you got, fake. The man says as he stands in a very lazy stance. Naruto's shoulders slump, seeing he was being looked down at once more. Letting out a sigh, Naruto vanish only to show up again in the guard of the yellow armor fool. The man's eyes widen seeing Naruto show up like he just did. Many of the more skilled fighters knew that was pure speed, with very few barely able to track the movement, only seeing a blur. Naruto places a palm on the man's chest plate before pushing him back hard, sending the yellow tin can flying backwards out of the ring, bouncing a few times before coming to a stop a good 10 feet outside of the ring. Many look at where Naruto was standing, then at the man, and saw with a simple push, he sent the man flying 15 feet with ease. Next, Naruto says while turning his hand over, palm up, and makes the "bring it on" hand sign with one finger. This caused a clan leader in red armor to jump into the ring and charge at Naruto without saying any of the rules for the duel. The man screams as he tries to give Naruto a haymaker. Naruto ducks under it and spins around the man, tripping him up, making the man start to fall forward. The man rolls with a fall and comes out of the roll on his feet before spinning around with a growl. Hold still. Why should I? That would have hurt, Naruto says with a grin as he pulls off his helmet and throws it to Anko, who grabs it with ease. Jina watches as Naruto falls into a very relaxed stance, making her wonder what he had planned. Then she saw the grin on his face. Patting herself down, Jina found her saber missing, making her frown. Naruto cracks his back and neck before making a fist with his left hand puts it behind his back. With a puff of smoke Jina's saber shows up in his right hand and with a snap hiss the purple blade comes to life. Now then show me what you have. Naruto taunts as the man jumps back to his feet with a roar and charges. The man draws his sword crashing blades with Naruto who blocks the attack. Soon sparks began to fly as the blades kept meeting in clashes. The rest of the clan leaders and elders watch as the two fought. Many of the elders saw the smirk on Naruto's face making them wonder why he was smirking as the fight seemed to be even. Jina saw the smirk and knew it was a grin not a smirk. Shaking her head Jina lets out a sigh as Naruto plays with the man. He was toying with him and drawing out the fight to prove a point. He would only fight the best and these fools who he fought so far were below his skill level by light years. Jina watched as Naruto began to pick up in speed with his attacks and soon the man was barely holding on as he was pushed back. Lashing out a kick Jina watches Naruto push the man out of the ring with a grin spread across his face. Now then weird smelling man, care to put your claim up for grabs or you chicken? Naruto says as he turns off Jina's lightsaber and throws it back to her. Fett gets up from his seat with a sigh. Very well. Is all he says before stepping into the ring. Pressing a few buttons on his gauntlet Fett grins under his mask as this was like any other time he went after a GD always control the field. He had brought along several Asalamer to block out all force users in the area. He had them place under and above the room they were in making it so in order they could be moved below the duel ring. Naruto could feel something blocking the force in a way that he could not call on it. Closing his eyes Naruto relaxes as he reaches out with his chakra to find the reason only to stop and jump out of the way of blaster fire from Fett. Running around the duel circle, Naruto did his best to stay ahead of the blaster fire as Fett takes to the air. Many thought this fight would soon end. Naruto's group on the other hand knew Fett just handed the match to Naruto if he started to use his mastery of wind chakra. And Naruto started to do just that. Using the air around them he began to form it into small compress balls in his hands and mouth. Leaping into the air he opens his hands palm facing Fett and opens his mouth release all the compress air balls at once in a shotgun-like blast. Fett not knowing what was coming his way remain in place as the first one strikes him in the shoulder, making him spin around in the air as several more hit him. Blasting upwards Fett tries to get away from them, only to get blasted by the one Naruto had released from his mouth, sending him back down to the ground. Landing on the ground Naruto pulls out several kunai and starts to push wind chakra into them before rush Fett. Fett was standing up when Naruto was in striking rank. The first strike nearly killed him as he did not think the knife in his hand could kill him. Feeling and seeing his chest plate get sliced into makes Fett jump back firing his flamethrower at him. Naruto rolls to the side out of the way of the flames. While in the roll Naruto unseals several more kunai and throws them as soon as he comes out of the roll. Fett spins to the side before opening fire with his blaster once more. Naruto leaps up and barrel roll out of the way before unsealing his own blaster, only this time it was a pistol, and begins to open fire back at Fett. Fett takes the blaster fire thanks to his armor and shields. Frowning Naruto throws the blasters at Fett who could not understand why the blasters were thrown at him. Landing at his feet Fett looks down at them only to see them to vanish in a cloud of smoke to be replaced by a ball of paper with weird writings on it. Looking down at it Fett tries to understand what just happened only for his sixth sense to kick and jump away right before they explode. Landing in a heap just inside of the ring, Fett gets to his feet to see Naruto standing there looks bored for the first time. Looking over at his one-time student Jina, he studied her too quickly to get an idea of what she was thinking of the man he was fighting only to see her standing in a stance showing she was bored as well and not caring what happened as if the outcome was already set. Frowning even more under the helmet Fett found it hard to find a way to win even with cheating if this man was able to use the force still. Fett then takes a step out of the ring, showing he had given up the fight. I cannot seem to beat you right now. But as you have not killed me you do not get to claim my title, Fett says with a sneer and a grin. He would not let some GD claim his title like this no matter what. Naruto head falls forward and lets out a loud sigh. Before looking back up at Fett. Reaching out with one hand Naruto gives a very feral grin to Fett, Banshmtenen. Fett felt himself being pulled back into the ring and right into Naruto open hand. Naruto grabs onto the helmet and pulls on it, making Fett body flip over and slam into the ground. Jina flinches at the power Naruto just used as she was not even sure if she could counter it with the force. Both Anko and Mission look away knowing what was most likely about to come. The biggest beatdown. Naruto drags Fett into the center of the ring before throwing up and over his shoulder and back down into the floor, denting the Durasteel with easy. Get up you little man. I have never seen someone who's so much a coward and sore loser than you. Not even team could match you. Now stand up and fight me as your honor demands it. Or are you such a Huchunla addict that you are a Darmanda? You're no Mandalor you're not even a Verd. You are a Darmanda Huchun. Naruto shouts at Fett making sure to pick the right words to show what he thought of the man. Fett knew he had to fight now, as not only his honor was being challenged, but his claim on the title of Mandalore. Standing up slowly from the pain, Fett turns to face Naruto with a scowl under his helmet. Very well, now die. Fett shouts as he opens fire with everything he has, wanting to kill Naruto now no matter what. Naruto grins as he calls up a wall of wind to block all of the attacks as he closes his eyes. Jaina watches closely now, trying to understand what he was doing. She could not feel any shifts in the seal and bond, but she could see Naruto was doing something. Naruto's body then exploded in golden chakra, making everyone step back in shock and fear other than Jaina and the Naruto's daughters. Jaina watches Naruto vanish once again, moving so fast she was not even able to track him this time. She watches Naruto began to use the Naruto Uzumaki combo as 5 clones show up to help Naruto punch Fett in the face and kick him into the air. Jaina watches Fett stops short of reaching the peak of the flight thanks to Naruto without any clones showing up and doing a somersaulting heel drop onto Fett's head, sending him crashing back into the ground. Naruto lands back on the ground without a sound as Fett groans loudly and tries to move only for his arms to give out from under him. Jaina and everyone else watch one bated breath as Naruto starts to walk towards Fett. Once he was close, he reaches down and picks up Fett and throws him one more time, this time out of the ring with a flick of his wrist. "I win, you dickhead," Naruto says before spitting at Fett, who was growing loudly in pain. Naruto eyes sweep the crowd before turning to where Anko and Mission were. Walking over to them, Naruto picks Mission up and takes Anko's hand before leaving the Mandalorians to stew. Jaina stays only for a minute. "You're lucky he did not kill you, Fett," she says, turning and leaving. There was no point in staying around now. In the back, several members of Clan Ordo watch Jaina leave before leaving as well to their ships. The oldest and one of the most powerful clans had a promise to fulfill, and it was time to do it. While they knew that Naruto would not trust them right now, they would prove their honor and loyalty once more. Thanks to this, a wave was sent out. No one but the strongest felt it. But Master Luke Skywalker and his son both felt it, making them look up and wonder what could cause such a shift in the Force. Well, they could tell it was not dark or evil, it would shake everything they knew. The Lost Tribe Chamber of Lords all look about, trying to see if one of them knew what this meant. Not seeing an answer, many left to see if they could find the answer on their own. One member of the tribe felt something different. Something was calling to her, telling her to come and find me. The one Sith Lord could feel his time was coming to a close. Someone had changed everything and all of his plans had just gone up in smoke. He would have to figure out how to stop this power if he could, but was not sure if he could, as it felt like a son to aunt. Deep in the maw, a creature of pure evil screamed in rage as the wave hit her. She was the mother and she would rule, but this power made her bow over in pain and fear. Fear, something she had never felt in billions of years. No, she would not bow, she would find this power and either control it or destroy it. In the GD temple, the master all gathered to find out what could have caused this way, like many of the unknown Sith were doing. They also try to figure out what it could mean. Across the galaxy, the balance had shifted, and it would keep shifting, all thanks to one clan following a promise that could never be fulfilled. Not that they cared, as they had been banished long ago for trying to keep the promise alive, but it was not to be, as many thought they had upheld their part back during the GD Civil War. But Clan Ordo did not, as they knew the Republic would always need help. During the Republic Sith Wars, they had sided with the Republic. When the Clone Wars started, they worked with the GD, and when Order 66 was given, they turned their guns on the clones and the Empire. With the Second Civil War, they went to Skywalker and gave him their aid in battle. They knew where they belong. And they would drag the rest of the clans along if they need to. It was time to tell the galaxy Revan was back and all Mandalorians it was finally time to honor the promise they had forgotten. But first they need to remove Fett from power, and to do that was simple. Upload the fight. He just head to the HoloNet and watch as the clans start to leave him. The new era for Mandalore had just begun, and it would last till the end of time. Thanks for watching.